explodes.
It's live.
Yeah,
It's live.
It's
don't
alive.
Don't ask me to do technological things on 3 hours sleep. This is not a good time.
Oh dear.
You had 3 hours sleep.
Yeah,
His
because I wanted-
stream is in
What are you doing with
shambles.
your life?
You
Why
sound
are
like
you-
you're on
wanted
a
to get
Xanax right now.
this flash video. I wanted to get it up and ready before this stream. So I was up until I think it was midday today, finishing that off.
I'm so old. Flash video means something completely different.
Oh yeah, that's they don't
Especially
even do
during the
that
month
anymore.
of June, it definitely means something different.
That's a very important civil rights thing you're alluding to there, I think. But yeah, so no, I was up till midday doing this flash video, and then I went to export it and say export it, fine, hit the upload button on YouTube, and I'll go to bed and I'll wake up and it'll be ready and it'll go before this stream. Hello, by the way, chat. We can see you.
Hello.
And then yeah, it got to the end of the export process, which took an hour on its own right, and just said, nah, can't do it.
Because it's too long.
You could have told me this at the beginning. You knew I didn't have enough space for this when you started to export it. Why did you wait until it was 98% done? But yeah, so that was fun. Anyway, welcome back to the best show in the universe. It's just me bitching at how massively tired I am.
Probably.
Bagface is working on a video of mine, so he can't make it.
He's actually got a bag on his face this time round, I think. So
Yeah,
that's why.
hopefully the video edit comes back and it doesn't look like he was editing it with his face.
The bag on his face.
Yeah. Movie Cynic put him in a sweatshop. Don't worry. It's called the editing room.
Yeah.
We love it there.
So I need to get one of those. I've got the handcuffs ready, and I know where I'll chain the editor, but I need to actually lure one into the basement first. I think.
Got the
I
Gibbs
literally
suit
thought
ready.
he was going to be talking about something else there when he mentioned that. Dear, oh dear.
Happy Pride Month, everybody.
Oh,
Yeah. Well, today, yes, we have our lovely guests. We have actually Andrew. We have the lovely Vex. We have Problem Being, and we have the brilliant Mega Geek on with us. We'll be talking various things. And I guess kicking off with, are we kicking off with the Flash? That's first on our title. So
We're already
Why
there.
not?
So
We're already there.
yeah, I've been
Already
bitching about it
there.
already. We've technically started talking about the Flash. The news on this was that the box office is traumatically bad.
Exactly what I said it was going to be too.
Mwahaha.
Yeah.
But remember, Mr. Brown said it was going to be a stonking success, didn't he?
He sure did say that.
Did he say that? I think I remember.
He
him
thought he
saying
was
that.
like in that Mr. Brown tone. $1 billion.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
$1 billion.
Yeah.
That is
Movie
far
of the
too
year.
posh for Mr. Brown. None of that sounds like Mr. Brown.
Exactly. Yeah.
it'll be really soft. So it'll make $1 billion, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, that sounds nothing
will-
like him.
Movie of the
It
year.
will bring in $1 billion, love, or something.
I think I
Yeah,
remember
something like
hearing him say that, and I'm just like, Brown, what are you doing?
He said that about John Wick also. Like $1 billion.
Everything, $1 billion.
Everything I like
Can we
make
make that a
billion.
meme?
So it hasn't done well
Saying
then.
anything is going to be a
No,
billion.
so it had a the total figures will come in today. The actual figures.
If I knew he was on, I would never have said that.
You're all fired.
Brown, we didn't mean it. Sorry.
We love you, Brown.
So the total figures will come in today, the real numbers, but it came in at a 73% drop. So, and that's only from 55 million. So like massive drops like that are, I mean, they're never good, but the bigger the number, the more okay that is. Like even movies in the MCU during its heyday in like 2016-17 were suffering like 60 something percent drops, but they were opening at like 160 to 200 million dollars. So you're still looking at second weekends that are astronomical. This fell from just 55 million down to 15 million. It barely beat Jennifer Lawrence's new film, No Hard Feelings,
Which I actually saw.
I did too. I reviewed it.
I saw it. And you know what? Right. It was okay. It wasn't great.
It was okay. Yeah.
But that scene where she comes out of the water and she's completely starkers, I thought, jeez, woman.
Jeez.
Yeah, what the hell? And she gets kicked between the legs by a teenager. I'm like,
does.
what the hell is this?
She body slams someone and lips are flying everywhere.
Yeah.
But back to the Flash.
Ridge-lipped.
Different
Yeah.
kind of Flash we're talking about. now.
Yep, different kind of Flash.
When I
Yeah.
saw the Flash, right, I saw it complete because there was a lot of people, like a lot of famous YouTubers that saw it and they cut the ending off because they were a special screening. But I saw it complete, and when I told everybody George Clooney was in it, they didn't believe me. They thought I was joking. I said they kept saying to me, "Who's the guy at the ending?" I said, "It's George Clooney," and they're like, "Yeah, right, Ian, right." And then he turns up, and like, what else we're gonna say? Do you know what I mean? I just thought it was really weird he had a beard because when he puts his Batman mask on, he'll have a beard, right? So it just didn't make any sense why I had a beard at the ending. So anyway,
That's a good point. I didn't even think about that at all.
Yeah.
That could be
Maybe
cool.
he's not Batman.
yeah,
Maybe he's just George Clooney.
yeah.
And George
He
Clooney
is
helped get his.
just
Yeah,
George
maybe
Clooney.
George Clooney helped his father get out of jail.
Who knows? Who
Selling
knows?
coffee or something.
Yeah.
Mm.
But the movie flat out bombed, and it's absolutely hilarious.
Thank God.
I called a 70+% drop last weekend, and that when I saw the 81% number for Friday's drop,
You did. You're
Yep.
so good at this.
81 was crazy.
Yeah, 81% drop Friday over Friday. I don't.
'cause I DM'd
I'm
you.
speechless.
I DM'd you and I was jokingly saying 84, and then I see 81, and I'm like, oh no, I was
It's
joking.
pretty rough.
It's because it's not a very good film. That's I
Yeah.
mean, it's
You know,
it's
you think
enjoyable to a
maybe.
point,
It is.
but it's not as enjoyable to substantiate the growth, if you know what I mean. Spider-Man No Way Home didn't make any sense, right? But still, it was really entertaining. And it did
Yeah, but it had
keep it
heart.
there.
That's what
Yeah,
matters.
yeah, that too. But this one was really, I don't know. It just, for me, it kind of, you can tell that the half the script was missing and they mucked around with it.
Yeah.
Like I was
Mhm.
told that the Back to
Yeah.
the Future joke was leading up to something at the ending because you know Twin Pines Mall and then it was Lone Mall. It's meant to be something like that at the ending, but obviously they've mucked around with the film and they took that bit out. So the Back to the Future joke doesn't make any sense now when you hear it. So I don't know.
There
So
are
it's a
loads
lot
of bits
stuff.
in it like that. There are loads of little odds and ends in the script which you think, I think that was going to go somewhere, and it's just
Yes.
not in the film anymore. So they've probably about 4 different films have got various little bits and pieces of their scripts in this one, and none of it really pays off. Like the one that always sticks in my mind is the relationship between the old universe Barry and Supergirl, because I'm sure the film is trying to tease this romantic relationship. That explains why he's so torn up by her death at the end. But none of that's actually in it, so it's just incredibly perfunctory.
I heard it was filmed though. It was filmed, and that was the reason why he keeps going back in time because he was in love with her.
Yeah.
He keeps going back in time to try and save her, and he turns into that stupid monster thing.
Wouldn't that be weird though? Because in Young Barry's universe, he already has a date with whatever.
Yeah,
Iris.
he already likes another girl, and they're
He's
they're
never met
about
her,
to
though.
start a
So he's a
relationship.
perv.
Well, he did meet her at college, but he just fancied her. But I mean, let's face it. Look at the bottom, Supergirl. Jesus.
Yeah, I was going to say, given a choice
point.
between
That's a fair
between
point.
dumpy slow-mo sausage girl and
Exactly.
Supergirl, which one are you going for?
Yeah.
He doesn't.
So-
It's not that he's just has like a because he even asks like future Barry, oh, are we gonna get married to Iris and all this stuff?
Yeah.
So I think it's a little bit more than just a little
Yeah.
crush or just a like a passing interest. So I didn't even think it didn't come across that he and Supergirl had a thing at all. I just
No.
thought it's like, oh, I
Yeah.
have my powers, and this is someone that can relate and is kind of tied to my origin story. So I don't
Yeah.
want to let them go.
There's just one or two bits. So there's the bit where they have a slightly, they glance at each other when they're in the plane on the way
Yeah.
to the endlessly flat desert. And in one of the trailers, there's a clip of him going up to her while she's still unconscious. And obviously, Ezra Miller approaching an unconscious woman is never a good sign. But in the trailer, I don't think that scene is actually in the final film as well.
No, I
I
don't
should
remember it
know
at
because
all.
I've spent so long looking at the damn thing. But yeah, there's loads of stuff in the trailers which just doesn't pop up in the film at all.
In the original ending, they were meant to win because if you see some of the behind the scenes pictures, Batman's still alive and he's on the stairs of a courthouse, isn't he? And
Yeah, so is
Supergirl's flying
Supergirl.
above him and stuff like that. So I wonder why they changed the ending. Maybe it's because they knew the Zack universe was coming to a close, and
I think that's it exactly.
Oh, I'm
Yeah.
sure that's a huge part of it.
yeah.
That's going to be a massive part of why they're doing I mean, it was only back in October that they made a decision to completely revamp everything because they were going to go on with it. I mean, that's why Henry Cavill was in Black Adam. But as soon as that movie bombed, it's funny that like that was the straw that broke the camel's back was Black Adam of all things.
Yeah,
But
that was rubbish. That was, wasn't it?
Yeah.
Let's face it,
Yep.
absolute nonsense.
well,
So
what is
boring.
besides it being a bad movie? What does everyone think is there are multiple factors in play on why this bombed.
Well, I think mine was the Ezra Miller factor, and I said right from the off that I wasn't going to see it purely for that reason alone. Anyway, I know it was a bit of a dissenting opinion, but I still think that it's very hard. It's very easy academically to say yes, we can separate the art from the artist, but in this case, I don't know. It was so egregious, and I just think a lot of people were just like, why do I want to see that annoying gimp who just likes to go around attacking people and doing weird stuff? I know he's been paid already, but you kind of just want to punish him anyway. In a way,
it'll make sure he doesn't get future work.
Yeah, exactly, and it's a Bud Light factor. I think people now cottoned on that. Oh, this holding your money back thing works. You know, we can actually boycott something and maybe make a difference. No, I'm not saying it will, but I do think there is a cultural shift in attitude towards this kind of thing.
I think the reason why it failed was one, the Flash. I mean, for normies, the Flash, they know the Flash, but they don't know him as well as Superman and Batman. They should have been concentrating on Superman and Batman. And two, the film wasn't very good. It wasn't. Ultimately, it wasn't a very good film. It's not the. I went to see it twice because of my nieces, but I wouldn't have made the choice to see that film again. If you know what I mean. Like for instance, when I saw Spider-Man No Way Home, I wanted to see that film again.
I thought the trailer for the film was really bad as well, but people were going praising it. Oh, look at Batman, and I was just thinking that CGI looks ropey.
Yeah, what was with all the weird overhyped praise that came out with the trailer when all of those news reports coming out saying, "Oh yeah, Tom Cruise has personally said that this is one of the best films of all time." It's like, I don't believe you.
That was so funny. And then Stephen King is like, I don't usually watch superhero movies as a rule, but Flash is amazing. I'm just like,
well, since he doesn't usually watch superhero movies, he wouldn't know what makes a good one then.
He doesn't even know what makes a good book anymore, to be fair. So.
Or a good tweet.
Yeah.
Basically, the film is poor when you look at it. And the CGI is even worse than poor.
Oh yes.
So the reason why it failed is because, in my opinion, because a lot of normies don't know Ezra Miller and what he's done and stuff like that. It's purely on the film, I reckon. That's what reason why it failed. That's what
I think Snyder just kind of nuked the whole DCU from the beginning. That's basically all it is. So
it's been a downhill trend ever since Batman.
Yeah, so everyone knows what to expect from a DC film, and then it doesn't help that even if I watch this. I don't know what's going to happen with the rest of the universe because they're scrapping it all to redo it anyways. So what's the point in investing in this? It's not going to go anywhere because that's the trend we're used to, right?
What was the point of the ending as well with Aquaman in the water and
try and entice people to still go see Aquaman too? Be like, hey, we know we're resetting things, but this is kind of sort of still the same Aquaman. So please go see that and don't let that one bomb.
Yeah, but
that's what I got out of that.
Why couldn't have written that sequence more funnier or something that was related? It was just a throwaway scene which made it wasn't clever. It was stupid.
It was like an afterthought almost.
Yeah,
that's what it felt like.
It feels like it was made post writer's strike, thrown together by people that aren't writers, and just like, oh shit, we have to do something. And they just people who aren't in the union did it that very day.
Tell you, films are getting worse. I'd rather watch old stuff now. I actually go out my way to seek old stuff. In fact, I saw Casablanca a couple of days ago.
Ooh, good film.
I think that film is absolutely awesome. The story doesn't make any sense, but hey, the film is absolutely brilliant. If you ever get a chance and you haven't seen Casablanca, I recommend it. Definitely recommend it.
Oh yeah, it's a classic. It doesn't really deserve to be mentioned in the same breath as The Flash.
No, sorry. The Flash is absolutely
So as what Vex was saying as well, which is that there is no big pent up stock of goodwill that DC can use to ride over these terrible films. The MCU could go through phases 1 to 3, which had some really bad films in them, but nevertheless, there was the story overall that you were investing in, and that you cared enough about the characters that you could forgive the individual bad entries like Iron Man 3. Nobody gives a shit about DC's expanded universe. It doesn't really have one. It keeps contradicting itself whenever it invokes it, and then James Gunn's going to get rid of most, if not all of it anyway, so there's no reason to forgive The Flash being a nonsensically written nightmare of mess when there's nothing to actually pay off that investment.
Also, sorry, just to go back to the stupid Flash movie, it was so obvious that the woman that played Gal Gadot wasn't there. It wasn't even in the presence of the other. It was so obvious, wasn't it? It was ridiculous.
What do you mean? You could hear her theme song when she came on screen. I absolutely hate that so much. Yeah. I was like, don't bring me back to Justice League. Stop dragging me back here.
And what's
they
his
made
name?
the same joke.
His mask, Batman's mask, looked really weird.
The whole costume looked absolutely atrocious.
He did, didn't he?
It looked so bad.
It's the standard over designing everything aspect. You just need a guy in a leotard and a cape and a cowl. I mean, that's really all you need. Instead, all you get is these weird little things, details that you just don't even notice or wouldn't really want to notice anyway.
There's a lighting. There's so many issues of that. I think in many cases he's not there either. There's a few scenes of him where he's so obviously just CGI'd in.
Yeah,
like half the scenes in the film just are completely CG. I'm pretty sure in like half the final battle, Ezra Miller isn't actually there. He's off doing something he shouldn't be with someone he shouldn't be. And they've just created an animated version of it. It really looks really badly animated, the whole thing. But also that you have got all these character designs, and they were all designed for films helmed by Zack Snyder. And Zack Snyder very rarely makes anything, lit at all. So they're all designed to be seen in the dark. And yet this film comes along and says, what's the best way we can possibly deploy the Flash and Batman? I know. Let's put them in a clear blue Arctic sky setting with nice pale white snow, so we can see all the hilarity and the absurdity of their stupid costumes in full display. Great choice. Well done.
They kept the color grading that Zack Snyder used, but it does not work with the lighting that they used, and it's just terrible.
No, it's terrible. It's so awful.
Yeah.
The Flash runs around and looks like Gumby. He looks like just an elastic figure. You know what I mean? I can't stress enough. Oh, the costume was fucking atrocious.
He looked like a Power Ranger.
Yeah. He did, yeah.
He looked even worse than that. He looked like a putty from Power Rangers. He looked like one. He
looked like
villains.
that live action movie Power Rangers suit. If you guys remember that one, when did that come out?
Even a
97, TV, baby.
The TV Flash costume is much better than the movie costume. And what's it, Grant Gustin, whatever his name is, he's a much better Flash than what's his name?
Ezra Miller.
Ezra Miller. He's a much better. In fact, they should have just put him as Flash rather than him.
That should have been the retcon at the end. Just throw Grant in there.
Yeah. Yeah, it should have been, definitely.
I'm surprised they didn't reference the Arrowverse, because like a lot of people like that. Especially the Flash show.
Yeah.
But no, let's dig up people from the grave using terrible CGI for shameless and hollow cameos. We love that, don't we?
They didn't
very tasteful.
They didn't reference Batman, Chris Nolan's Batman either, did they, at the ending?
They wanted to, but
Bale said no.
Bale said no because he's an actual person.
Yep. And it was stupid. It looked like a auditorium. So that's the Speed Force then.
The weird auditorium ball places.
Yeah. What the?
Yeah.
I'm not going to swear like Vex.
I spent so long trying to figure out what the hell was going on there.
Just say it.
Oh, there we go. Stream demonetized. Yeah, you didn't it's all I'm trying to figure out what the hell that Speed Force thing was, because like, how do you know if you're in that and you're running? How do you know when you're going forward or backward in time and into which timeline you're going? So, like, surely he's trapped in the alternate timeline because he didn't choose to go into it.
Well, it's easy because at the end he runs backwards.
Right.
So sure, that's how he fixes.
How did he figure that out though? Because
I don't know. Don't ask questions. The multiverse doesn't work yet again.
Fuck yourself.
It just seems to me that they seem to make up these magic powers wherever needed. It just plot needs to happen. Let's
just
do
plot
this.
conveniences to make everything move forward. That's all this movie was.
Backwards.
Yeah.
But they didn't do it properly,
Especially-
did they? Because the comic has the history of the Speed Force and stuff. That obviously the comic there's many issues that explain what was going on, and in this they tried to cram it into one film, and it was just again it's stupid, isn't it? You know, they got Doomsday, you know, Superman versus Doomsday, and they shoved it in Batman versus Superman when it should have had a complete movie just dedicated.
Yeah, that's
to
a villain that's worthy of an entire film.
I have
like
I
what
have
the
that comic. It's pretty cool.
Yeah, it is.
I just that reminded me of that film. Like so, I know we're not talking about the Flash. We're talking that's Batman v Superman, isn't it? That one.
Yeah.
Unfortunately,
The,
So
the Gummy Man.
if I
aka
remember
Doomsday.
rightly,
the cave troll.
He goes on. So Lex goes on the Kryptonian ship, and the Kryptonian ship says, "Yeah, you're not allowed to do this. It's against the laws." And he says, "Who made the laws?" Like, yeah, them, and
The
are they dead?
council.
Yes. Oh, it's fine then. So, like, but if it's illegal, and if the people who made the ship made it illegal, why did they make the ship capable of making the illegal Doom monster? And at what point, like, why do you have rules that just disappear if the people who happen to write them died? None of that makes any sense. But that's the problem with all of DC. It's just massively contrived.
Yeah. I liked the comic because we didn't know where Doomsday came from. He came from underground. And the first scene you see is the bird flies on his hand and it's tweeting away and he just squashes it, doesn't he? And just and with that very frame, you know what you're dealing with right there. You know, so and obviously all those nice little moments in the comic was nowhere to be seen in the movie. Again, they rushed it. That should have been a complete movie on its own. Do you know what I mean? So
yeah,
they screwed it up.
Like the whole comic is pretty much showing like Doomsday tearing through every single hero, and the last person left to take him on is Superman.
Yeah.
But in BVS, like Wonder Woman can do it just fine.
Yeah.
Like she is vibing there in the middle of like the destruction. Like she's like
she has plot.
She's being
armor.
sassy. She does have plot armor. She cuts off Doomsday's hand with her sword, so her sword can just kill him.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Was crap.
Also because she cuts his hand off, it becomes a spike, and that's what kills Superman. So Wonder Woman killed Superman.
It's
That's
absolute
crazy.
rubbish, isn't it? It's absolute rubbish. It's such a shame, really, because the DC universe could have been something amazing. It could have outstripped Marvel right across the board, but you had idiots in charge. It was all about actually getting their money, wasn't it? I think there was that story about Justice League that they had to complete it at a certain time, otherwise the high ups wouldn't get their bonuses. Is that true?
Yep, that's why
Really?
it was. That's why it was forced to still come out, even though they switched directors like 6 months before it was supposed to be released. Yep.
There you go. So,
you know, I still argue the fact that Joss Whedon's version of Justice League actually did a better job. It was not a good movie, but it did a better job of capturing the essence of the characters than Zack Snyder's.
I do like it more because it is less misery. It also has. I mean, the better scene. There's a scene with Batman and Wonder Woman talking, and like Wonder Woman trying to explain why she doesn't do superhero stuff anymore. And of course, with like the surrounding world building, her explanation doesn't work at all. But like the scene itself is pretty. I like it. It's a good scene, and it's like Batman talking about like reasons why we need Superman now, and it's a good scene.
It's also not 3 turgid hours long.
4.
Sorry. Oh, Christ.
4 with like 45 minutes of slow-mo.
Oh, God help me.
With Joss Whedon's version, is it he was brought on after Snyder had filmed everything and then he arranged the movie and just little fill-ins?
Oh, no. If you watch Whedon's version, I'd say it feels like anywhere from 33% to like 45% of the movie was reshot by Joss Whedon.
Well, it depends on how much Zach shot.
Zach shot most, I'd say, like up to 80% of his movie.
Well, in that case, then he Joss Whedon had to come in and reshoot 75% to get the credit because that's the rules in the States. Same thing happened to Superman 2. So Richard Donner shot, I can't remember, X amount, and Richard Lester had to shoot 75% of original stuff to have the credit as director of Superman 2. So so I reckon Joss Whedon came in and went, that's crap, let's reshoot that. And that's what he did, I guess. So
it's definitely apparent toward the end of the film, I think, more than the beginning. There are huge changes all the way through, but the end is particularly different. It has, I don't understand what the hell he was thinking of with the CGI tentacles that just erupt from the floor for no very good reason, and Superman carrying a house for, again, a reason. I don't know.
Oh no!
It was to show how useless the other superheroes are.
Yeah, it's just like a Deus Ex Machina.
Forget the Justice League. It's
all
just
of them
Superman.
are faster than the Flash, which is just like, why are you even there, Barry? Like, everyone is faster than you. Superman's faster than you. Wonder Woman's faster than you. Cyborg probably is faster than you as well. Like, you suck. Just go away. You're not helpful.
Do you remember that fucking ridiculous scene where it's like, it's supposed to be really epic and it's all in slow-mo because obviously, and the Flash is like running around as Wonder Woman's reaching for her sword, and it's like,
oh yes,
he
it
just
plays her
tips
theme.
it.
I remember.
Right, he just tips it, and she grabs the sword and lands, and that's all that happens. It was like this, like massive. Imagine how much money was wasted on that shot to do absolutely nothing.
Yeah, her reflexes are really good.
Right, and then that happened like 1,000 more times in that movie.
But do you see how fast he was going? He was going really fast, so he could have just gone to each individual person that was surrounding Wonder Woman, break their necks, and just stop when he wanted to stop. It made no sense. Why would he just concentrate on the sword? Why didn't he just kill all the people around her? It's just
also
made no
in
sense.
the same scene, he's going after the sword to help Wonder Woman at the same time as Batman, who is the most vulnerable of all of them, really, because he's not a superhuman, is being twatted by this evil monster thing that's about to kill him. And Flash looks at these two people. Wonder Woman just wants her sword, and Batman is about to die, and he says, "No." But he fancies her, so I guess that's.
They needed the slow-mo shot. That's all it was. More slow-mo.
That's what it was. More slow-mo. And then, but yeah, Ian's right. They have that problem all the way through. So that's Wonder Woman's introduction, when instead of going and taking out the guy with the gun, she does that stupid move, bashing bullets away. Like, go towards the source. But this happens in the Flash as well. When they get down into the Russian missile silo, and all of the mercs come out and start shooting at them, and then Alt Flash moves Barry out of the way, and then he vomits, which is a rule that the film just invented in that scene, because up until that point, he could move anywhere.
They saw Invincible and were like, wait, we need to do that.
I think
we got a Snyder bot. You got a Snyder bot.
But then he doesn't go and take out the guards either. He just goes and dodges around bullets for no very good reason. His power level is so inconsistent. He unlocks a 9-digit pad by trying every combination in super speed in the blink of an eye. So how the hell is he ever in danger in any fight?
Exactly. So that doesn't make any sense either. And also the fact that he has to eat a lot to actually move fast, because I don't think that was that instigated in the comics. I don't think it was.
It was in
the TV show.
Justice League. Well, it was in Justice League, where he was like, "Oh yeah, I consume so many calories, so I got to eat a bunch." While he has like a pizza.
But they forget that as well. So at the beginning of the Flash, that's a significant mechanic. He has the watch on his wrist; it's important. But after that scene is done, they just completely forget about it, which is annoying, because there's the bit later on when they need to get rid of Alt Barry's powers for the scene to work. So they have him get shot in the leg, which doesn't make any sense in terms of physics, because if the bullet can just go through his leg at that speed, that means when he poked Wonder Woman's sword on the tip of the sword, that sword has just gone right through his hand. And every time he crashes, he should explode. But they forget that they could have just invoked the calorie thing to achieve the same thing. Just explain that he's run out of calories, so he's lost his powers. That means Batman has to save the day, which is what they wanted to do, and they had to shoot him to get that to happen. But it's just, if you're going to introduce these things, you should probably remember you have them and make use of them properly.
Doesn't he like fully heal though when he gets his powers back, like immediately later on in the film? I think it was just an inconsistency in all honesty. That's really all it was.
When he gets shot, he should have been fine after a couple minutes, but like they go through a whole sequence where he's limping, and it's like, come on, man.
It didn't make any sense at all. Yeah.
Come on, just heal already. We know you can do this. You got healed from a plasma bullet hitting you in Justice League. Come on.
Yeah, they make the mistake. They make the mistake of just thinking that the audience of superhero movies are just gonna lap it up, and they don't think about anything. No, they're just a bunch of nerds. That's their attitude, I think. They just think, oh, they'll just buy it or watch it because it's got the label, it's got the thing on it, it's got these guys in it in the costumes. They'll go for it. They'll lap it up. I just don't think they get it. They really don't seem to get it. I don't know who they're bringing in for these things, but they clearly don't know what the hell they're doing.
People who don't understand comics, like for instance, okay, the Flash costume is so badly designed. Whose idea was it to have the streak of light on his costume? It looks so stupid, and his mask was really crap.
And you have to run in it. I mean, does that look like something a runner would run in? A suit of armor? I mean, that's the worst thing anyone would want to run in.
But also, you can tell the people that work on superhero movies, they don't know what they're doing or don't even know about comics. Like, for instance, I'll take you back to Superman Returns. That costume, that guy who was playing Superman, I'm sorry, right? No disrespect to you, Ben, but that costume looked really gay. It really looked so gay.
Hey, yo, what the fuck?
I know it skipped over me entirely, but never mind.
Oh, sorry, pal. And you too. Well, it did. I mean, let's just go for it, right? So they changed the color of his costume. It was dark red and darker blue. And then his boots were really short. It didn't even come up to his knee, right? And then his shorts were really short shorts. Really short shorts. You know what I mean? And then the S on his chest was really small. And it just looked like shit. If you were a comic book fan, you would never have designed that costume that way. Same thing with the Flash costume. The Flash costume looked absolute shit. This one. Now, and what was the helmet that he was wearing? It's like he's got like, it was like he had dreadlocks in his helmet, and he was just hanging there. Do you know what I mean? It just looks stupid.
How come no one's mentioned how ridiculous he looks when he runs?
Yes, that too.
I enjoyed it, actually. It was the comedic relief I needed, so I was fine with it.
Has anyone ever seen
apparently the reason he developed that style is they were discussing for Justice League, I think it was, they were discussing different running styles and what they should do, and they thought it would be really interesting if they modeled his run on speed skaters, as in like ice skaters who go very, very quickly. So that's the reason he runs that way. But I can't help but note he's not an ice skater. He's the person who's running. And
it looks
what
like...
works, it's like if I'm a cyclist, I don't like run as I would if I were riding a bike. So why is ice skating any different? It's just a weird decision.
It looks like interpretive dance to me.
Have you ever seen a compilation of Steven Seagal running?
Yes.
No.
It looks like that.
But Steven Seagal's not running; it's his stuntman.
No. Here. I gotta show you guys this. This is for the chat, everyone. This is good stuff.
Like his hands flapping about, isn't he? Yeah. Steven Seagal. Good old Steven Seagal.
Can everyone see this?
Oh, this is from the first one he did, right?
Is this where the stream gets taken down for copyright? I think it is. Yeah, I might want to pause it now, just before we get taken down.
We're done.
Yeah, definitely pause it. We will
honestly,
actually
he looks more normal
there.
than Barry Allen running, to be honest.
But this was his first movie. This was in England, it was called Nico. And it was a huge success, wasn't it? Made him a star, this one.
He's got very limp wrists.
He has,
He does.
If it wasn't for copyright.
He's really overweight now, isn't he?
I'm gay, but I can run more macho than that. I'm sorry. That's appalling.
Yeah, Steven Seagal, man, what an idiot. Oh, I wouldn't say that to his face.
Did he run like that in Justice League, by the way? Because I rewatched it and he just runs like a normal person in there.
There's a few scenes where he does.
I think it's just,
toward the end.
His hands.
Okay.
Like I know his feet change, but his hands are always like very like limp wrist again, and like
it's as fluid as his
elbow
gender.
moving.
Yeah.
Let's face it, right? The best, as an actor, the best superhero you can actually be is Iron Man, because he doesn't even have to be in a costume. It's all CGI, and all he has to do is come in the studio, do the voiceover, and then do the bits where he's Tony Stark, and 90% of it is the CGI of Iron Man flying around. So that's probably the best hero you could be as an actor. Let's face it, you get paid just for doing voiceovers. So anyway, let's move on, shall we, from Flash, because Flash was rubbish.
Seems like the audience did. So
Is there anything to salvage just before we do move on? Is there anything of any of the films that have come out so far that you think James Gunn should keep, or should he just sweep the whole lot away and start from scratch?
Sweep James Gunn away. Start over.
Honestly, homie thought this was the best movie of the year. Die. Just stop existing.
Do you think he'll try and save face and just be like, I was just lying. I just wanted you guys to go to the theater.
Oh yeah.
I actually think the DC heroes are dead. I think moving forward, it's people are getting really tired of all these movies.
I don't think people get sick of Batman, and that's it.
Yeah. Batman's the obsession. What was that word?
He is the obsession
for you.
Yeah,
but yeah, he people like Batman, so it doesn't matter how many versions you do of Batman. People are going to go and see Batman. Superman's a different thing, though.
Yeah, I think Cavill was a bit stupid at this stage of the game. I think if they'd have given him just one film at least to end on, that would have been perfect.
Or at least let him be in Flash, so I have something good to look at.
Yeah.
Other than
instead of they CG,
thing.
That weird CGI they put in. Why couldn't they just put an actual clip from Justice League in there at that
It was
point?
done on purpose, Vex.
True, it's because he's going so fast it's distorted. It makes sense.
It was rubbish. It was absolute rubbish. Nicolas Cage one was rubbish as well.
I would have rather had Batgirl than this monster.
Batgirl
probably would have been better. I saw some behind the scenes footage, but photos from it. Kind of had a cool style.
Do you know what?
Right,
Right,
be bad, but at least it was going to be good to look.
I'll say this right now, and I've always been saying this, and Movie Cynic and Ben knows that I've been saying this. Someone has got that film somewhere.
Yeah,
100%.
Someone has got it. So
the directors definitely have something from it.
Yeah.
I'd assume
it's being used as blackmail,
but it's just got deleted.
They say it all got deleted, but I reckon somebody's got it.
I mean, they also said that they got rid of the entirety of that Fantastic Four movie in the 90s, and I watched it. So someone has it.
Give it 5-10 years, it'll show up somewhere.
Yeah, I reckon so.
Hashtag campaign, release the Batgirl cut or something.
I'm confident in saying that will be better than Flash if it ever comes out. I will enjoy it more than Flash.
Keaton's in there at least. So
she runs as badly as the Ezra Miller.
Oh God, yeah. See that behind the scenes thing when she's running.
Hilarious.
The Flash. I think it's a mistake, and I don't think James Gunn is going to do any better.
I don't either.
No.
Next up, Blue Beetle.
Oh,
that looks rubbish.
Oh. That's what's going to jumpstart the James Gunn
going
universe.
To bomb so hard.
Nobody knows who Blue Beetle is.
Batman.
Nobody knows who he is. Normies don't know who he is. What makes me laugh is that DC has got the best superheroes. They got Superman. Everybody knows who Superman is, and Batman. They should be focusing on those two to get those two done properly, if you know what I mean. But they're not.
No.
Blue Beetle. What the?
Blue Beetle. Listen,
it's like who's going to watch it?
Batman the Brave and the Bold as the DCU Batman story. That means they're introducing Damian Wayne, who is his son.
I hate Damian Wayne. Is that a controversial take?
I think he's cool. But I also read like really great comic books with him, and that's my only introduction to him. I haven't read anything.
I've only read Injustice with him in it, and I absolutely hated that little rat. I hate him. Listen.
No, there was a
lesson
by Patrick Tomasi. There's a comic book series called by Patrick Tomasi called it's just called Batman and Robin. It was really good, and it was him and Damian. So that was my one and only experience with him. He's a really cool character in that one. So, but I think it's like they are starting a DCU, but like Batman's clearly already established then. I don't know. It's going to be weird where they're taking this, or where James Gunn's taking this.
James Gunn's going to make a mess of it, in my opinion. I mean, just by looking at the cast, they were saying who's going to play Superman. It's like, even though there are men that they're talking about, they all look like they look like boys. Let's face it.
Well, they want to do they're doing that as a point. They want to do a younger Superman. So.
But it's his humor that he's bringing in. I don't know if that's going to sit well with the DC style.
I don't know if it's going to be good for a Superman movie. His style of humor.
I still think a Superman film can work. You just have to be clever about it. First of all, you got to figure out how does Clark Kent work with Superman in today's world, and also you got to figure out, does he still work for a newspaper, because newspapers are not really doing it now. You know, so you got to figure out all that stuff. And in fact, in the Marvel, the No Way Home thing, that what they did with Jonathan J. Jameson was exactly what would happen now.
Yeah.
So so that's why they have to figure that out, because there's no way Lois Lane wouldn't look at Clark Kent and go, right, yeah, you're Superman. Do you know what I mean? So they got to figure that.
Yeah, they got to they have to make Clark Kent a completely different character to how Superman portrays himself. Like, they have to make him like slouch over, doesn't stand up straight, is insecure, stutters when he speaks. And then Superman is the complete opposite, stands up straight, broad chest, speaks confidently.
Yeah. I still think Superman can work. I just think you need the right story, the right cast, the right director, the right writer. Shall I go on? Shall I go on?
You just need the good people to do it. That's crazy.
But James Gunn only has a track record of working with like C and D list heroes where there's far less pressure. So
and he can make them into intriguing characters. Like, he made Polka Dot Man into,
like I said, there's less pressure and more. I would feel like there's way more leeway with those characters, where there are certain things that you do expect with Batman and Superman. If there wasn't, they wouldn't have been ripping this away from Snyder and giving it to someone else. Be like, can you do this right? So I'm worried about what he's going to do when it's actually like crunch time with A-list superheroes.
Yeah.
I mean, right now he's doing the casting. I know I've seen a couple interviews where he's talking about it, and like he's going through all of the Warner Brothers archives, seeing old Superman costumes, trying to see what he can make in terms of that. I mean, I think he will have good intentions entering into it, it seems like, but if he will actually execute and make something good is the big factor.
Yeah. I mean, please get a hot Lois Lane. Please.
Yes, agreed.
Please.
Yeah.
I mean,
probably get Lizzo, bro.
And Lana Lang's the ginger, okay? Not Lois Lane.
Exactly. But I mean, Amy Adams was really hot in the first movie she was in, that Disney movie. I can't remember what it was called.
Enchanted.
She looked really hot in that, but then when she got to Superman, she was kind of slightly overweight and
she had a baby. That's why.
No, I'm just saying. I'm just saying.
It doesn't change facts, Vex.
But when she started in the other movies as well, she was still the same size. So it's like she didn't make the effort to go to the gym or shrink down or anything like that.
Wow, like body shaming.
Well, no, I'm just saying. Like Henry, he went to the gym, didn't he? And he bulked up,
because
he's so. That's what I'm saying. And she's Lois Lane, so she should look like Lois Lane and be as hot as hell.
She was too old to be a Lois Lane.
Her age is definitely the factor.
Nerdy Film Girl says it quite right. Lois Lane needs to be feisty too.
Yeah, I was gonna.
Yeah, she does. Yeah.
She needs to be toxic like she was in the first Superman and jump out the window.
Is anybody watching Broken Mirror? The only reason why I mention it is because what we're talking about now is that Broken Mirror in every episode has the tick box thing. Every episode. The first episode, I swear.
You mean Black Mirror?
Black Mirror. That's Broken Mirror. What an idiot. Black Mirror.
It's broken now, right?
Broken now. Yeah.
But I thought it worked for some reason.
What? The guy in the skirt?
No, the first episode of the series.
Oh, yeah. What was it called again?
It's the one where her life was on TV, and
that was it. Yeah.
I thought the story was really compelling, and I thought the reveal at the end was very clever. But I see what you mean. Yeah, I mean, I haven't got through the rest of the season yet, but yeah, it's very diverse.
Yeah, they've ticked a lot of boxes. I've seen 4 episodes so far, and the thing is, when you tick a box, right? I hate to say this, and I'm going to sound really sexist now. When you tick a box, you don't get hot women. I'm sorry, right? But I want to see hot women on screen. You don't get it. I mean, they had this one episode, right, where it's set in Scotland, and this guy was obviously from Scotland, and he had an American girlfriend, and she just so happens to be black, but she was not good looking. She was just, I'm like, could you not fall in love with someone better looking so I could? Do you know what I mean? I don't know. It's just seriously, it really. it grates with me now when I see stuff like that on TV. Instead of going, yeah, that's great for diversity, it just grates with me now because I know they're doing it for the wrong reasons. So, but yeah, Salma Hayek was quite fun in that first episode.
She was brilliant in that.
Yeah,
I really enjoyed that first episode. I was looking at it, I can see where they're doing the woke thing, but somehow managed to pull through with excellent writing and great performances. And I was, by the end, I was quite emotional because I thought the impact of that particular story, I don't know if anyone's seen it, but it's really powerful. I was like,
yes.
And she was ordinary, you know.
If you see that episode, turn your phones off, guys. Just turn them off now.
Yeah, pin it.
Yeah. So I thought I've watched 4 so far, and they're okay. Not as good as the last season though in cleverness, but they're okay.
I'll have to have a look.
Yeah. Anybody seen Extraction 2?
Yes,
I have not yet.
I did like it. It was rubbish storyline, but hardly any storyline.
You didn't like it, or
no? I liked it. I liked it.
That's how I felt about the first one. I did not care for the first one.
No.
The intro, I would have cut the intro out entirely. Because it is just man had family, now doesn't have family, now shoots people because angry. It is that trope to the fullest extent in the first one. And I don't remember anything from the first one other than Chris Hemsworth going, "Oh, you play piano," and that's about it. The first one really isn't good.
No, the first one's
it has good action.
Yeah,
but
action's good.
I'm never gonna watch it again.
but what's the line that always sticks in my mind from the first Extraction to the second Extraction is, "You all right, mate?" He says that all the way through the movie, and especially in the second one, every time he fights someone, he goes like, "Are you all right, mate?" As he just keeps saying to them all the time. But
like at the end of the first one,
we can't give it away.
Yeah, I'm not gonna spoil, but at the end of the first one, I was just kind of frustrated, and at the end of the day, I didn't care.
But you know what the story is, right? And I'm not spoiling it for you. The story is they send a man in to get somebody out. That's it. Yeah. That's the story. That's the story. Do you know what I mean? And then they surround that whole thing, that storyline, with action all the way. That's what they do. And that was the first one, and this is the second one as well. The action's really good in the second one.
Yeah, the action, like they have a long take in that, and it's a good long take. It just doesn't do. I think when you do long takes, and especially with action, at the end you have to have a big payoff at the end.
Yeah.
And with long takes, like take Daredevil for example. In episode 2, it has a long take. I think it's like 4-ish minutes of him just fighting Russians in a hallway.
Yeah.
It's really sweaty, dingy, like green lit basement, and he's fighting all these people. And at the end, he's just like throwing himself at people just because of how exhausted he is. And like at the end, he opens the door when he finally has like knocked out all the Russians. He opens the door and he saves the kid, and that is the point of like the entire show. He was willing to do anything, even if it means to just save one guy. Like that's the whole thing. And at the end of Extraction 2, I was just kind of like, all right.
Yeah, but you know, there's a look again. A bit of a spoiler. There's a bit on the roof of a building, right, with a glass. And I thought that scene was really good.
Yeah, that scene was the scenes on the glass were really good. I thought that the action there and the tension there was good.
Hell? Yeah, it was very good. Yeah.
The second one did add character development, which I liked. With Tyler Rake. Yeah. They added character development with him, and it was good. And he has an end scene in the movie at the ending. With a significant person, and it's a good scene.
I love the ending when a guy says, "I'm not going to stop." Remember what happened there?
that was good. That was some good humor.
So we can only laugh about it. Sorry, guys. So
all good. All good.
It is okay. I'd say.
Yeah, it's worth your time.
Yeah, I think it's a bit overhyped. People are like, action movies are back, and I'm like, guys, this is pretty mid. It's okay if you just.
Is that your elitist community college student take there?
Yeah, this is. It's okay. It is overhyped. It is just man with gun.
It is.
But if you like man with gun, you'll have a heck of a time. That's about it.
The train
Sell it,
sequence was
baby,
good
sell
as
it.
well with the helicopters and stuff.
Oh, the
and
train sequence.
his
Oh
big
yes,
midi-
I love
big
the
midi
train.
gun. Yeah,
That's
the
what
train
it felt
scene.
like a video game because
Yeah,
like
it did.
Tyler gets out of one of the train cars, he looks up, sees a helicopter, and then
Helicopter,
he
yeah.
uses his pistol and just shoots at it
Yeah,
twice.
yeah.
It doesn't do anything, but it was so funny.
But he goes down, doesn't he? And he comes out a big midi gun. And he's like Terminator.
Oh yeah,
It's like,
yeah, that was good.
So yeah, it's good. It's worth. If anybody's
Yeah.
listening, obviously watching this, you know, I'm assuming a lot of people watching this. It is worth your time if you like action. There's no story. There's basically no story.
There
to
is
this
no-
at all.
I think action movies are making a comeback.
Yeah.
I get that feeling that the superhero thing's waning, but the action movie is doing a comeback. That's
Yeah.
what I get.
Yeah, and all
What
stuntmen,
proof
I mean,
is there of that though?
they've
Besides
been-
Extraction.
John Wick.
Been back.
Yeah, but
Mission
John Wick's been
Impossible.
around, so that's established franchise.
I
I
know,
know
but
it's established, but I still think that because it's Mission Impossible is going to make $1 billion.
Yeah.
It's going to
maybe.
make people think, well, maybe we should make more of these sorts of things. I think
Yeah.
it's cheaper than superhero movies, isn't it? By a long shot. Why not?
Can be. I mean, that would be the evidence for John Wick is not that it's a new franchise, but that it is an increasingly popular one.
Each
it
movie
doesn't
has
cost-
made more than previous ones.
Yeah,
Mhm.
it doesn't cost a
Significantly.
huge amount to make by comparison to some other huge blockbusters, but they are bringing in more money each time. Mission Impossible, I don't know. I did read something the other day which estimated that it might actually not perform all that. I mean, it'll do well, but it wasn't going to perform quite as strongly as perhaps the studio and the creator were hoping for. It's got competition. I don't really understand why so many people seem to think it's in competition with Oppenheimer because they're very different films.
No, it's not that. It's the IMAX thing.
Well, there is the IMAX thing, but
yeah,
people are not necessarily citing that as the sole reason for competition. One of the reasons they're saying Mission Impossible might not just generally perform well is that it is facing competition from other films as well as competition on screens for the IMAX. I don't know if I guess Nolan's name being attached to it and the fact that it's about a giant explosion might bring in some part of the same audience, but it's they're very, very different things. But
I know
yeah,
you guys at the top, you want to watch Oppenheimer.
Yeah,
But I'd rather watch Mission Impossible.
I'd rather.
I'm gonna watch.
What are you talking
Why
about?
can't you just?
It's
watch
not a
both?
competition. I'm going to watch
I
both.
don't know. Chris Nolan's last movie and the one before that I didn't like at all. So I'm
the
very
one before
picky
Tenet?
now. Sorry,
What was
Tenet.
the one before Tenet?
Tenet. There was Tenet. and there was-
Dunkirk.
No, not sorry. I didn't see that
Interstellar?
one.
Interstellar.
Interstellar. I hated
Oh,
Interstellar.
God, I hate Interstellar.
Hated it.
Yeah.
Yeah, but I
He
mean,
said
I'm
that-
not interested in that, and I'm not interested in Tenet, but I am interested in Oppenheimer
Oh yeah. Okay.
as a historical figure. I'm
Well, yeah,
interested.
then that's the difference as well. Is that this is not a story that Nolan is just creating. He is ostensibly trying to just do a biopic, in which case he can't go completely off the wall with time travel and all that bollocks that he likes to do.
Yeah.
So no, I've never got into Mission Impossible, so I probably just give this one a pass as well. But I am kind of looking forward to Oppenheimer. I think.
But the thing about this one is that you have recognizable stars in this film. Oppenheimer, you have Matt Damon, and you have all these other stars in. Yeah, they're all peppered around, but it doesn't work anymore when you put big stars in a movie like this. I remember going backwards, like this is years ago. Bridge Too Far. When you saw the lineup for Bridge Too Far, you were like, my God, look how many stars they got in that film. And that was one of the things that drove people to the cinema. But when you have loads of stars in a movie, the star system doesn't work anymore. It really doesn't. I mean, I should be rushing to the cinema because Matt Damon's in it and Cillian Murphy's in it and so-and-so's in it and blah, blah, blah. Do you know what I mean? But it doesn't impress me now with all those main stars in there, if you understand what I'm saying.
Yeah, well, there are so many of them, but there are very few who sort of tower above. You've got a huge list of sort of B+ tier actors, and there are not very many absolute star quality A-listers. And that makes it harder to sort of differentiate them. You're not really sitting there thinking, oh yeah, this is so-and-so's new film. I'm going to go and see it because it's so-and-so's new film. I guess the closest you would get to that probably is Tom Cruise at the moment.
Yeah.
But there aren't very many other people around.
Yeah, I think it's just Tom Cruise now. It really is.
The superstar is dead.
How do you
It
think
is
Oppenheimer is going to perform in Japan?
No.
It's gonna bomb.
Hunt for Red October reboot, maybe now. Good time.
I don't think they should reboot anything. They should create new stuff now. We need
That's too hard.
That is too hard. Think we got to make new stuff to just do the old thing but new. It's easy.
They should, shouldn't they? There should be. We don't have any Spielbergs at this generation, or in
I wouldn't agree with that. I think there are some brilliant filmmakers.
Oh, really?
Young and upcoming. Yeah, like Robert Eggers is really good.
What's he making?
Yeah.
What's that?
What's Robert Eggers?
So he did
Did he do Lighthouse?
The Northman, The Witch. I think he did The Lighthouse too, right? So like that's a horror movie. I don't even know what the fuck you call The Lighthouse. Yeah, and like a Viking action movie. Like that's across the board.
Right.
Of styles.
He's doing Nosferatu too, and I'm really excited for that to come out next year.
Ooh. I also think Jordan Peele has a lot of potential. I think that he also has the potential to be like the next M. Night Shyamalan. I've said this before, but he also has potential to be, a great filmmaker with a long career. So
no.
Well, I think he has pull. I do think he has pull to the cinema. I think people will go to a movie because
I think so too. Yeah.
Because like I talked to my friends who are incredibly normie when it comes to like film and stuff, and they're like, "Oh, is that a Jordan Peele movie? I'm gonna go see that." Like I haven't.
Yeah, they all know who
Nope
Jordan
yet.
Peele is.
Yeah, I haven't even seen Nope yet, but they saw it the first time it was shown in theaters.
That is okay.
So like,
I agree, Matt.
Jordan, whether or not he's good, he does have pull, and he's making unique movies that people want to see.
I don't know. I still stick with those directors. They're fine, but they if you go back to the 80s, we had some real class directors that were actually setting the bar, in my opinion. But it's because cinema's dying. Cinema's dying.
Well, it is. But I mean, I was reading around this a few days ago, and sort of the parallels between now and the period immediately before the Hollywood revival of the sort of the 50s through 60s, when the studio system was again collapsing. It was churning out epics, and it was investing in new technology to make these glitzy, glamorous, big screen extravaganzas that no one really wanted to go and see anymore. And as a result, they lost a huge amount of money, and eventually that was what made them, they had no choice but to plump for new people, new directors, new writers with new ideas. And it was eventually those people, Steven Spielberg comes up in around this period, and it's those people who go on to become the household names of the 70s and the 1980s. And I do sort of wonder whether we're in that period before that. We're in the collapsing studio state when they're just churning out these empty epics. Eventually they will lose all of their money, and then we might start to get some kind of resurgence in independent film or an amateur film, which then creates the next generation. But that will be a long process, and so we are probably going to be forced to sit through lots of shit before that happens. So hooray for YouTubers, but not so good for the general audience.
Well, the uninspired reviewer, I am in complete agreement with his selection here, and these are all brilliant filmmakers that work off like no budgets.
Yeah,
because Ty West is doing the
Jordan Peele didn't have a budget in his last movie, of course.
But I mean, like when he started with Get Out and stuff. Robert Eggers functions.
Get Out.
How much did The Witch cost? How much did Get Out cost?
$5 million.
That's a big budget.
In England it is. It's a decent budget,
dude. That's like the fucking catering budget for a month.
Yeah,
no, it was in America. No, it was 4.5 million.
Yeah, in America,
so basically nothing.
That is not a lot.
No, yeah, in America, yes, but in England, 5 million is a decent budget, man.
Well, yeah, but it wasn't made in the Britain land. It was made in Hollywood.
Not made in the land of the British.
A bunch of money.
You guys don't understand how poor the rest of the world is.
That's
so
right.
You take your affluence for granted. We all live in hovels over here.
All you fucking brokies.
Brokies.
I cannot imagine, bro.
I mean, Get Out was okay. The people hype all these movies now. Get Out was just okay. Nope was absolute rubbish. I'm sorry to say. And I don't know who he is. Wes Anderson. I love Wes Anderson. I've got
Nope. Yeah, look, all these names are coming up that have made brilliant films. It's like we're almost getting jaded and a little cynical.
No. Well,
good shit that's out there. Guys.
Well, the thing is, I don't know them, and I probably haven't seen their movies, so I can't really comment. Tell you the truth. So, yeah.
And there are a few as well where you can say, okay, they've done some decent films. I think Denis Villeneuve is going to be one of those when I can say I've seen a few of his films and I think they've all been okay. But he hasn't done that one that makes him his own sort of brand. He's not a Spielberg.
Yeah.
Spielberg is Spielberg. Spielberg has an entire genre of film. And there isn't anyone yet who's dominating it in that particular way. There are a few candidates. Wes Anderson doesn't really compare because he is a niche product, and I really like Wes Anderson, but I don't. He sort of makes a habit of just not being comparable to anybody else. And I mean, I've not seen the latest. Asteroid City's the newest one that's just come out, which I haven't seen yet. I will be watching it. I've heard some mixed things, because one of the problems that some people have with Wes Anderson, and it does become increasingly easy to see why, is that he is becoming a bit of a cliche of himself. And so what was really new, innovative, and charming when he did it in Moonrise Kingdom, or when he did it in The Royal Tenenbaums, when you start getting to The French Dispatch or the Grand Budapest, then you start, well, I've seen all of this before. You're just doing you, aren't you? Like, I know how this is all about shot composition and typeface and color scheme.
He's been memed to hell on YouTube by AI.
Yes,
people
he is
doing AI Wes Anderson alien thing. It's hilarious, and he's even acknowledged that this is happening, but he says he refuses to watch them because he doesn't want to become too aware of the things that he's doing.
Some of them look brilliant though. The Lord of the Rings one, I really wanted to see it. That could have been a really interesting film.
But that's the thing.
Alien one is great as well.
You know what you're going to get when you see, and that's what the same thing with Spielberg in the 80s. You know what you're going to get when you go to see a Spielberg film. Do you know what I mean? So Wes Anderson's no different. He's, you know that they're all going to be talking in that monotone voice, every character in the film, and it's going to have some kind of weird color. So, and if you enjoy that stuff, that's why you go to see it. And I do. I liked his last 3 films. In fact, I liked most of his films. I think one of them I didn't like, but I think he's a real talent. But I'm in love with the actual art of directing and the art of making films, and sometimes I see too much. I'm not talking about story-wise, because that Movie Cynic and Ben, they're real experts of actually diving deep and seeing why a script doesn't work and stuff like that. I'm very different. I love seeing the way the things are lit and the way they use something to express a mood and all that stuff. That's the thing that I'm in love with when it comes to movies. And no wonder I don't see any of that in the new filmmakers. Even though they're good, I don't see any of that old-fashioned way of directing. Again, if you watch Casablanca, every scene in that movie is fucking genius.
So what do you think of Zack Snyder then? He has a visual style.
No, he doesn't. But
he is a visual genius.
Everything he does is 300.
No.
That's 300. You remember 300? 300. Yeah. I did that film. That's what every single one of his films since has been.
Listen, Superman's eyes are red because he's Republican, and Batman's eyes are blue because he's Democrat. That's not just a conspiracy. That's something that Zack Snyder actually said.
Let me explain the difference between visual, right? So basically, Zack Snyder is doing visual stuff, slow motion, color, and whatever. But the difference between him and Spielberg and him and Richard Donner is that everything that he's portraying on screen that is not connected to an emotion, right? So Spielberg moved the camera to express an emotion. As I said, I've said this in another stream. I'll give an example. Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? So he runs down the corridor, Marion's in the basket. I've said this before, haven't I? Runs down the corridor. He's looking for Marion. He hears Indy. He turns around. He walks straight up to the camera, the huge close-up of his eyes. The audience is wondering, what the fuck is he looking at? And then it pulls back and you see, 50 people with baskets, and he has to figure out which one. So basically, Spielberg is using a move and making the actor, express an emotion, so it will feed into you, and then you'll get more invested in that scene and get more into the movie. What Zack Snyder does is he shows you pretty colors and slow motion, and it's not connected to any of the emotions whatsoever. Therefore, you're kept in a distance between you and the film. And that's
what colors? Pretty colors.
Yeah.
Color.
I wouldn't say they're pretty.
Well,
say they're
Snyder's movies look like AI art before there was AI art.
Yeah.
Just like hollow, soulless.
Yeah, that's what I.
Someone in the chat brought up Bong Joon-ho as a good modern director. I would agree with that one.
Yeah.
He's one of my personal favorites. So,
have you ever seen I can't remember what it's called now. The film that the Magnificent Seven is based on, Samurai. Is it Seven Samurais?
Seven Samurai. Yeah.
Have you seen that? So there's this scene. So the main guy, who's I think is the Yul Brynner, Have you ever seen it, guys? Have you seen that film? No.
Yes.
Seven Samurai.
Yeah. Right. So the director was saying they want, because there were so many people and you couldn't tell. Well, if you're a West, you couldn't tell the difference between each character. The director made the main character do something so you recognize him right away because they're wearing very similar clothes. He did that thing with his shoulder, so you know that character is who is, when there's a big fight, you know that character is there, if you know what I mean. Maybe I'm not explaining it very well, but even then the directors were doing stuff so it'll connect to you emotionally, so that you're connected to the film and you go with the film rather than just having a fantastic painting and you step aside and you're just staring at it. You get you get invested.
To be sure, I mean, Kurosawa is a bit of a genius. So
yeah,
he is. Big fan of Kurosawa. But it can be a little simple thing. Is the same thing if you're writing characters. You know, one of the cheap and easiest way to make a character distinct is that you give them either an accent or a speech impediment, and it immediately makes them incredibly recognizable. It works in a number of settings. You can do it pretty well. You can over rely on that kind of thing, but it works that, you know, Kurosawa, as you were describing, does it with visual tells for actors and characters, and that works in much the same way. It's simple. It doesn't take a huge amount of work. It's immediately identifiable. And it's a good way of getting people very quickly to know who's who and what they're about. So yeah, I recommend it. Any aspiring writers, give your character speech impediments and you already know who's speaking. Give one of them a lisp. He won't be threatening. Don't make him a villain. Unless he's gay. And then it could be,
problematic today, isn't it? So, but anyway, that I've explained it really badly, and I'm a freaking director, for God's sake. So, but that's the reason why I like the old films, because they emotionally connect you with camera moves and what they say and what the actors are doing, whatever. Subconsciously, they connect you to the story.
And the blocking as well.
Hey, blocking's fucking. Oh my God, Close Encounters is 101 on how to direct. It really is, and you guys probably don't know what I'm talking about. If ever I'm sitting in the cinema watching Close Encounters and you're with me, I'll explain every shot, and then you'll realize how much of a genius Steven Spielberg really is. But isn't
that a general consensus?
But it is,
like
but people don't understand why he's a genius. They just listen to everybody say that he's a genius because the films are really successful and you really enjoy his movies, but you have to understand why.
You know, he's also really very lucky, because when I was an extra on Warhorse, whatever weather he wanted for this one shot that he was doing, he got it. There was one scene we were doing a prison camp scene, and we were out in the open in the middle of this forest, and all the smoke's rising, got all the extras like around, like hundreds of us. And then this sunlight just came through these clouds, the columns of light just kind of, boom, there it was. And when we were in the trenches, rain, clouds, everything mud. It was absolutely incredible. I'd never been on a film on location where the director got exactly the weather he wanted. And it just looked amazing.
The man can make it rain out here.
The man is God.
He signed with the devil, just like James Cameron. let's face it. They both signed with the devil. So there you go. That's why they keep winning all the time. But yeah,
there is the downside to all of that, because I mean, you're right. He is a genius, well established as a genius, and has done fantastic work. And it's part of a generation of directors who came up and did fantastic work. You know, Ridley Scott, James Cameron.
Yeah.
The problem is, though, that, you know, we don't have a huge amount of people coming up to replace them. Their names are carrying them through the industry now.
Yeah.
So now, you know, Ridley Scott has another film that say it could be anything you like. It's only going to get made because it's Ridley. Alien Covenant being a really good example. What a dog shit film that was. If anyone else had pitched that film, it wouldn't have been made. But Ridley Scott comes along and says, you know what the Alien franchise is well equipped for? Debating the origin of life. Let's do that. That will be fun. And then they said, yeah, you're Ridley Scott, so fine. Same with James Cameron and Avatar. He can turn up at the studio and say, I made Titanic. And they say, yeah, have a few $1 billion, make your Smurf movie. And it starts to strangle innovation in the industry, I think, when you get these slavish adoration of directors who were brilliant. They're not really anymore. I think even Spielberg is probably quite some distance beyond the peak of his powers.
Yeah.
But we'll still get films made and everyone will turn up and there'll be big money spinners. And that's money that could have been spent on maybe someone with a better idea who wants to make new waves in the industry, as opposed to just capitalize on their name and reputation.
Oh, West Side Story.
Yeah, that was terrible. I went to see that. I'm a huge Spielberg fan, and I went to see that, and even I hated it. I just thought it was absolute rubbish. And that new one I refused to see, because basically it's, you know, the one about him, that he directed. What's it called?
Oh,
The
Fablemans.
I'm like, no, that's being vain, isn't it? You directing a film about your life? Come on. You know what I mean?
Isn't that how like every kind of artistic genre goes, though? Like and they came up during a time when the industry was still relatively young, so like there was no established formula to making a blockbuster film like there is now, and there's a conveyor belt to producing the blockbuster movie. And you know, like most artists, the best example is normally musicians. Like their you know, magnum opuses are always like when they're in their 20s or 30s and they peak, and then they kind of get on their treadmill and just do the same thing over and over again once they've found a groove.
That's true.
And like I said, like their rise coincided with the rise of cinema. So like someone was going to be inventive and do it, and studios were taking risks because that was the only thing you could do, was take risks with movies. There was no safe bets like there are today, even though, well, the safe bets are kind of falling apart now with superhero movies. But
we need more auteurs.
And I think there are like the ones that we've rattled off over the past like 15-20 minutes. I think they are there. I think we just have to dig a little deeper. Like these movies don't make $200-300 million anymore. They have tiny budgets, but there's still brilliance out there for us to watch.
I think they should rein in all the spending millions and millions and millions on these things. I would give, especially up and coming directors, just a very limited budget and go make a film, and to see what they come up with. Force people into being more creative by giving them limitations. I think that's always where you get the best creativity.
Oh, definitely. I mean, this for easy comparison, Star Trek: The Next Generation versus Star Trek Discovery. One of them has a much bigger budget. It does a huge amount of special effects. It does loads of lasers and ship fights, and it's really action-packed, and it's garbage. And the other one was on a shoestring budget for a large part. They didn't even think it would be renewed. Most of the action sequences take place just with a static camera on the bridge of the Enterprise, and they're talking about the events that are happening. And it's way more gripping. It's so much more exciting that you feel the tension much more, because though they're not splashing money on special effects, they are able to compensate for that by writing incredibly well. And limitations on budget tends to put a greater focus on cheaper things, and writing is a cheaper thing than CGI. So yeah, smaller budgets would be good, but that might be the way we're going, given that, was it Warner was predicted to have lost something like $2.1 billion in Q4 last year?
Yeah.
Disney lost $900 million over the last 8 film releases. I think that was announced this week. So these companies are not very, very healthy at the moment. They are running out of money, or at least they're losing money. So eventually, yeah, as I was saying earlier, you might get to the point when there are more films with smaller budgets, with lesser known directors, and they are less risk. Well, they're risky in the sense that they're not established, but less risky in that there's less dollar value attached. And from that, you might get innovation in the next big thing. Whether action is the replacement genre, I don't know.
You can't spend yourself out of a crisis. You can't. I mean,
that's Disney.
Well, exactly.
To the government.
Well, this is the thing. It just begets more of a crisis. You get yourself further and further and deeper into problems, when really you could have saved yourself and your audience all this hellishness if you'd just gone, right, okay, let's budget for more creativity and, you know, more interesting films by reducing the budget and telling these younger directors to go off and come back with something, save yourself a lot of money, and maybe make profits. However much smaller those profits are, they're still profits and not losses. It just seems to me a fairly simple idea, and I just don't understand why these people just don't get that.
They don't know what they're doing. That's why.
Well, a large part of it is there's a perspective bias, and many of these studios, because they try and hire young in terms of the staff for the studios, than say HR departments being the classic bête noire of every sane person. Banks do the same thing. Banks got in trouble. One of the theories for why banks consistently fail to, say, anticipate inflation or the problems with raising interest rates is because they keep hiring people who don't actually have a living memory of what it was like to live through the last crisis. And so there's no planning for the future one. Movie studios are not entirely dissimilar. A lot of these people have been hired in the last sort of 10 years when there's been a huge amount of silly money coming in. That's been further skewed by the coronavirus pandemic, from which studios did quite well in the sense that, well, their films in cinemas weren't doing well, but that they had a huge amount of inward investment, which they could then churn into streaming services with the promise seemingly of untrammeled growth because everyone was locked at home and watching loads and loads of TV. And that skewed the entire industry toward that model. And now when people are coming out of this, all of a sudden, Netflix, for example, is finding that its subscribers might not grow eternally and forever, and Disney Plus is finding the same thing. And now they're having to reevaluate. But that's because none of these people really have the longevity or the business experience to remember what times were like before now, and no one really bothers to study history. So, of course, we repeat it.
But wait, you're missing the most important thing here. They have the right genitals and the right skin color.
that is famously the most important thing, yes.
Yeah.
The Flash, for example, managed to give us the one premise where referring to Ezra Miller by they, them pronouns actually made grammatical sense because there were two of him. So he is a plurality in that point.
You hear the latest that they were saying Jamie Comer is going to be the next Bond. I'm like, what the?
Who?
The woman that was in Killing Eve. You know, the blonde girl that was in Killing Eve. And I was like, no, you're being. I'll say you're being stupid now. Why would you cast a woman to play Bond? And then the other rumor was they were going to cast a black man to play Bond. I'm like, no, that's just stupid. So.
Bond was a Jewish middle-aged man with a scar on his face. Can we just get that right?
Right, okay.
Didn't one of the conservative government ministers came out recently, I think, and said it's time for the next Bond to be female. What business is this of yours? Yeah. And why are you calling yourself a conservative? Please stop.
James Bond is a man. He's a man.
Yeah, what are they? So it's a woman that's going to be named James
Bond. Yeah, it's like
Jamie Bond. There you go.
Oh yeah, Jamie Bond.
It's ridiculous. Absolutely.
No, keep the name James because that's what they do.
And that way, they can keep Jamie Bond being like super promiscuous because that's independence and empowering.
Yeah.
If they turn her into a roaring lesbian, then actually you might minimize some of the damage because men will turn up to watch that. So,
But they'll make her ugly is the problem because all the lesbians are ugly in film now.
Oh yeah, no one wants to see an ugly lesbian. That's the problem.
Yeah.
No, they could make a hot lesbian. Arcane did it, so we'll be fine.
Yeah, true. Yeah, and that was very well received, though for other reasons besides the hot lesbian.
It was a cartoon, wasn't it? That was a cartoon.
Yeah, it was really good though. Like,
but it's really amazing. Platoon, did you?
I did like it.
Did you ever finish it, Platoon?
I still haven't. No. I've seen the first half of it, and I really like that, and I just haven't had the time. But I keep needing to go back.
It's made in 3 parts, really. I know it's over 9 episodes, but it's 3 acts.
There's 3 arcs. Yeah.
The final act, it just absolutely just knocks you for 6. It's really good.
Yeah, so I haven't even seen the best bit yet. That's something to look forward to. I plan to watch all of it before season 2 comes out, and then that will be terrible because I'll really like the rest of season 1, and I'll have really high hopes for season 2. But now everyone's onto it, so they'll have put it in the care of a Kathleen Kennedy equivalent who makes sure that all good things die.
Well, season 2 is made by the same writers, so it should be fine.
Yeah, but with whose oversight? That's
but the thing is, they had a lot of years to get it honed down and right, and I just don't know if they're going to have enough time to do the same to make it as up to that same level. Maybe they will.
I think the writing's been done for season 2. They've been writing it since they finished season's 1 writing. Which most of the production for that was animation.
I guess they got the animation.
Production took like 5 years.
Yeah. I think because they have the animation already, don't they? They've developed the style. They've got the technology there. They've done all that legwork in the pre-production of the first series. So I guess in a way they have more time to focus on the writing and focus on everything being in place. And making
am I right in saying that I'm the oldest person here? Because they're making the Fall Guy.
Yeah, you're like what, 65, 70?
90.
Age is just a number though now, Ian.
Exactly.
Love is love. So
they're making the Fall Guy the movie. I don't know if you guys know the Fall Guy. It used to be a TV show on Saturdays.
New.
So I know you wouldn't know, Ben. You're just a child, mate. You talk like an adult, but you're a child. But no, so they're making the Fall Guy, and it's got Ryan Gosling in it. I'm like, and again,
that'll pull.
Oh, just so bad.
Hey, why do you think I'm going to see Barbie?
Right,
that's coming out. Oh no.
Has Ryan Gosling ever been an actor that can like actually pull numbers?
No.
Or is he just like that's someone people know?
Some of
He's
people,
the meme guy that's like literally me character that everyone.
Right, but you know what I mean, right? Like there
Yeah.
are a lot of famous people. There are a lot of famous actors, and we know them, but we will not go see them. Like there's no like, oh, that's a Ryan Gosling movie. I'm fucking there. Like
it worked for Ben Stiller.
That was like what 20, like Ben Stiller was a name like that like 20 years ago, right?
Yeah. Ryan Gosling he hit peak with The Notebook, and then he went off and he started doing more
wasn't that
films.
like 17 years ago?
Yes. It's almost 20 years ago, almost
Holy
2004.
God.
Yeah. And then he went off and did indie films because he said that he just doesn't want to be in the limelight. He wants to do character work. Like he's come out and said that quite a few times. So
I know that's something Robert Pattinson.
And then he stars in Barbie. So there you go.
I never understood like the obsession with that guy.
He's actually perfect as Ken.
He always has this like peta smile. It's weird.
Yeah.
I think that's just his Canadian coming out. That's all.
It creeps me.
His eyes are so close together, though. It looks like his left eye's in the right socket and the right eye's in the left.
Oh, that's the odd line, isn't it? His eyes are so close together he could wear a monocle.
Play a Dalek.
But I don't know. That film looks quite funny, actually, Barbie. I might.
Oh, I love the oblivious humor in it.
Me too. I'm really excited for that one.
It will at least be funny. I love it when he goes into the hospital and then they're like, he's like,
oh yeah,
he's like, I need to do an operation. They're like, sir, you're not a surgeon, and he's like, but I'm a man.
I keep forgetting that film's coming out, and then something emerges to remind me that there's a line in The Flash of all things, just after you find out that baby Kal-El has been killed, and we cut away to the Flashes, and one of them says, "Come on, Barbie," and the other one says, "Let's go parties." Like, that's emotional delivery right there. Just found tragic news, Barbie joke. Good.
Yeah, the joke was so
product placement.
Every time you bring up scenes of The Flash, I'm just like, was this movie a fever dream? Did I actually go and see this? Because so much of it doesn't.
I actually don't remember any of the dialogue. I had like tinnitus the entire time. There was a sharp pain in my ear.
I still can't believe that they thought it was okay to keep the scene of Ezra Miller putting a baby in a microwave.
Yeah, I know.
Tone deaf.
Yeah.
Or we need the Barbie and Oppenheimer crossover. I think that's a good idea.
It was that scene was really bad. The CGI was I don't know. It was just awful. I remember talking to people about it, and they're like, "Oh, it wasn't too bad." I'm like, "What were you watching?
It was absolute ass. It's
awful. Just a superhero movie. I don't know what you expected anyway.
Oh my god! I got this comment
to see the next Endgame. Where's your superhero movie?
Your hair is blue.
Not anymore.
That's a valid argument.
Oh yeah.
I was actually talking about Movie Cynic to a couple of friends of mine, and one of them said, "Oh yeah, it's the guy with the blue hair." And I'm like, not anymore, not anymore.
I might need to change the branding. I don't know if I'm going back now. I'm too scared to get my hair fried off like the woman almost did last time I dyed it. So.
Oh dear.
Just do the tips then. Bring that 2000 style back.
Frosted tips.
Oh yeah, but you can go for the whole boy band look.
There you go.
Great. Please.
Busting. What about a wig? Blue wig. What about that?
A blue wig?
A blue wig. Just have one of them. You'll be fine.
I used to have 6 foot long blue dreadlocks.
Really?
True story. Yeah.
Oh, like really? Were you a vegan in that lifetime?
I'm always
as well?
wearing a blue something.
No, I was goth as fuck.
Goth as fuck.
At one point, my hair was red at the back, blonde in the middle, and blue at the front. And when it was windy, I looked like Yu-Gi-Oh! It was quite fun.
I used to have an afro. No, actually, I never had an afro. I'll take that back. Never, ever.
I had purple hair for a period. There,
I would see you with a wedge.
No. When I was quite young, I used to say to my dad, "I want to grow my hair," and he'd say, "Come here, boy. I'm going to give you a haircut." And he said, "You'll thank me later." So when I look at photographs of myself in the 70s, I don't have an afro, and I did thank him. So there you go. So yeah.
My mum used to get mine because we were, despite my accent, very poor. And she actually did the thing with the bowl. She would
Oh,
put the
no.
bowl on my head.
No.
And she would
Oh,
like
God.
My boy.
That traumatized me from about the age of 5, and so from 6 onwards, I just ran away.
Oh no!
Oh God, that's torture.
She got better eventually. Eventually, she outgrew the bowl and she started using a ruler for the fringe instead.
Oh yes. Oh
A ruler.
We want pictures.
Oh God.
Fun times.
Oh no.
Wonder I ran away from home.
Oh, the truth will out.
Well, he says, even though I've got an accent, I was poor. What he really means is that he lived in a huge house. That's kind of poor-ish, isn't it? Yeah.
He had
a Lamborghini outside as well. That's
All my friends went to Eton, and we could only afford Winchester.
There you go. What's next? Come on.
I think the next thing on the list is Indy 5.
Oh, God.
So from one bomb to another potential bomb, and we haven't even really discussed Oppenheimer very much. So which will be the bigger bomb, I suppose, is the question for this one. I've lost track of the box office predictions for this one, but Cynic, I know you normally keep up with these things. What's Indy set to do?
Around the Flash numbers, actually. So that's not good, because they've also dumped just about as much money into this bitch.
Was Flash predicted for like $30 or $50 million?
No, it was. Do you remember that once upon a time it was projected to do like 120? Yeah. And then it fell to like 75, and then 70, and then it landed at 55.
Yeah.
Right now it looks like 60 million opening.
Yep, so right around the same ballpark as the Flash actually opened. Yep, 60 mil.
I said this on Mr. Brown's stream yesterday, but so I got my tickets for Indy and Barbie 2 days ago. Even though Barbie's coming out in like 3 weeks, there were more people booked, like had selected their seats for that than Indy 5 at literally the same time in the same theater as well.
I love this.
Yeah, I bought my Indy tickets yesterday, and it's an early showing, so normally those are booked. There were only 2 other seats that were selected in the entire theater.
No,
that's crazy.
This is so funny.
Yep.
Barbie is about to make $1 billion.
And then Mission Impossible comes out the week after it, so it has no chance at all.
None at all.
I want to see that. Mission Impossible film looks quite good, so I want to see that one. Definitely looks really good. So more so than Indiana Jones, because Indiana Jones wasn't very good at all. Don't go and see it, people.
I want to watch Fallout with.
Fallout was good.
Yeah,
I feel like with Indiana Jones 5. I feel like this is a situation that's similar to what we were talking about earlier, where like normies don't really know about the Ezra Miller situation. They don't really give a shit. Yeah. I also think that the trailers don't look that horrendous for Indy 5. It's just that we clearly there's 130 reviews available on Rotten Tomatoes already, and it has a near rotten score.
Dude, that trailer looks like ass. What are you talking about?
It's not it looks bland as hell from a normal perspective. Like if you don't give a shit about anything, you just see a trailer like that, it just looks average as shit. And so like this was, I feel like it was never going to do well anyway. I feel like this was such a misguided thing to make a sequel to this to add to this IP. I don't think this was ever destined to do well.
Was this a contractual obligation to make a 5th one?
No.
Why did they make a 5th one?
Because they brought Lucasfilm.
Yeah,
they own it now. So
it's the last franchise that KK hasn't raped and left in a ditch, and so she has to complete her kill list. That's basically it. I mean, George Lucas and Steven Spielberg, I think both at various points took a look at this as a prospect, and both said nah. And George Lucas was the mastermind of Crystal Skull, so if he thinks this is shit, then oh my god, it's not going to be fun at all. I'm actually in the process of booking my ticket right now. I will be this is Wednesday nights when it comes out. This is 8 p.m., so that's basically peak time, I would guess, on the first day. I will be person number 14 in the cinema.
Woo!
Which is, I mean, it's a fairly big one as well. So yeah, that's not looking great. Anecdotal though the evidence is. I don't think anyone's anticipating this. They did drum up a few desperate souls to go to the premiere, didn't they? And they had them all lining up and cheering for KK.
Yeah.
and that was embarrassing. But even then, there weren't that many of them, and they all looked like either they were easily bribable or they were mentally deficient.
Or hostage situation.
Or hostages, yeah, and that was it. So
why did they screen this so early? Because they screened it like a month ago, and that's ultimately what killed this movie.
Yeah.
Why did they screen it so early?
Maybe they were confident that people were going to like it, and then to their horror, they didn't. So maybe that was the thing. So, but they had to say that they had to screen it in Cannes, didn't they? Because that in the old days that used to be huge publicity. If you had your film in Cannes, people would rush to see it because it was in Cannes. It doesn't work today. Nobody gives a shit about Cannes at all.
That's it.
So we're talking about Kathleen Kennedy, who knows nothing about nothing.
I hear she makes a mean cup of coffee.
Oh yeah,
she's quite good at booking the travel.
She probably knows how to take 2 or 3 dicks at once down her throat.
I was just gonna say something, but you just nailed it. So
that's why the neck is like that. There you go.
Oh, that explains it all.
She went there,
turkey, and she gobbles.
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
She went there. That bar of soap, it's on its way.
Oh god damn!
Seriously though, don't see this film. I know you guys have to see it, but it's just so awful.
I haven't been paying for any of these movies that I'm seeing. I just use all these points that I've accumulated. So I'm thankfully not giving money to anyone for this. But yeesh.
I mean, what is it? That film with Jennifer Lawrence in it. I was so bored one day. There was nothing in the cinema to watch, and I decided to go and see that film. You seen it, right? Movie Cynic, you've seen it, haven't you?
Wait, what?
The Jennifer Lawrence film.
No.
Oh yeah, I reviewed it too.
Yeah,
the first romantic comedy ever.
The first one ever. Also, the first comedy to ever star a woman. Yeah.
Oh yes, this movie.
Yeah.
Yes, no hard feelings.
No hard feelings. As I said, it was okay. It wasn't great.
Did anyone in the chat see No Hard Feelings? I had mentioned it last week.
No one.
Yeah, probably no one. It only opened to 15 million.
It beat The Flash though. Still.
Yeah. Well,
for this weekend,
no, they like to save face. They can skew numbers, and to project it being number 3 over No Hard Feelings, they said The Flash made $100,000 more. But when actuals come out, I bet No Hard Feelings beat it. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Yep.
It's a good way of drumming up word of mouth. Word of mouth being an incredibly important thing in the success of various different films. If you say, well, my film has naked Jennifer Lawrence in it, then you will get quite a lot of word of mouth appreciation. People will suddenly sit up and pay attention. And something else might be standing up as well as they hear this news, and they will go and see it because they want to go and see naked Jennifer Lawrence. Somehow, I think if Indy 5 said, "Well, we've got naked Phoebe Waller-Bridge," I don't think that's going to have quite such the same appeal.
Much rather see naked Harrison Ford at 90 years old.
I mean, everybody keeps every time I read stuff about her, they keep saying the beautiful. What's her face? I'm like, she's not beautiful.
Who, Jennifer Lawrence?
She is no.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Phoebe Waller-Bridge.
Oh yeah, she's not.
She's not.
She's not at all.
She looks like a Phineas from Phineas and Ferb.
You cannot do her like that.
She could sterilize a man from 400 yards. I mean, just by looking at her.
Yeah.
No.
She's not
no.
She's not.
Someone just said I look like Percy from No Hard Feelings. I am going full Platoon avatar from now on. I look like that fucking guy. Oh god.
But
his name was Percy.
They think if they say it a lot, we will agree that she's good looking. She isn't good. It's like that. What Batman film was that? The last? No, it was the second one, wasn't it? The Joker with the girl that took over from Katie Holmes. Every moment in that film, they're saying she's beautiful. She's not beautiful.
Oh, Maggie Gyllenhaal. Yeah, that's
not
so
beautiful.
That was so fucking funny when the Joker's like, "Hello, beautiful."
It's like,
who the fuck are you looking at?
Yeah. She's like, what? So I don't know. Yeah. There's no films to see in the cinema. That's what's really peeing me off. There's nothing to watch.
Just get a couple more weeks, and then Mission Impossible will be there.
Yeah, I'm waiting for that.
A couple more weeks, and then Oppenheimer right after that.
I might give that a miss, actually.
Barbie.
Barbie.
Yeah, Barbie.
Barbie
Master Race.
Believe the hype.
Oh, Movie Cynic. Did you see Boogeyman? Because I know you're into horror.
See Boogeyman.
What did you think of that?
It was okay.
Yeah. That's what I thought.
It's one of those horror movies that's more effective if you do see it in the cinema because of the sound system.
Yes.
Honestly,
Yeah.
if you watch it at home, it's gonna be a snooze fest. Honestly.
But what made me laugh is that in that they believe in light switches. Even when
I know it's so fucking ridiculous. Like you just constantly walk into every room and never just like, oh yeah, we don't turn on lights here, Dad. Like, what's the reasoning? Your dad's gonna freak out on you.
Yeah.
Like, oh, turn the fucking lights off. You don't pay the power bill. Like, what's the reason for not flicking on a light switch, bud?
It's like hitting the back.
When the little girl was playing the computer game in that scene. And like, there's no lights on apart from the TV, and obviously that creature comes out and she starts. I'm like, all you need to do is switch the light on because it hides in the shadows. They were saying, and it's like, well, just switch the light on, but no, obviously not. So, but yeah, it was all right. It was
okay.
Yeah, it was
really okay. It was not it definitely wasn't the worst horror movie I've ever seen.
No.
Yeah, it's almost like those are the kind of films. I don't know. Like I was texting into the group last night about my thoughts on Indiana Jones and John Wick and stuff. It's like you got to go into a horror film with certain expectations. Like it's not, it's certainly not going to be one of the best movies ever made. You have to judge it on its own merits.
Yeah.
And even by horror movie merits, it was just mid. Yeah.
But the thing about Indiana Jones is because this is the first time you were watching it, right? But for me,
I think I saw it once when I was like 5.
Yeah,
and it was not a movie I cared to return to.
But I'm saying it's different for me and other people because it's nostalgia, isn't it? It's one of the very first movies that had.
Oh, it totally is. When I was listening to the arguments last night in the chat, all I kept hearing is my childhood as a defense for why Indiana Jones was good. I was like, okay,
it's good.
Well, okay. To be fair, I wasn't alive when the first Indiana Jones came out.
So you could still have watched it when you were a child. You did not have
but
to.
rewatching it, I don't remember seeing it as a kid. So I rewatched and I was like, I can understand why people find this entertaining. It's fun. It doesn't take itself too seriously. It's got some good action. And then on top of that, it's like it's an interesting mashup of several different genres, which I think the way they're put together is very nice. So if you take it as it is, I can understand why there is a lot of love for Indiana Jones.
Yeah.
There's also a lot of like iconic moments that it was cool to see where the things I've seen emulated a million times actually originated from.
Yeah.
Like I have seen that opening scene emulated. I can't even count
a
how
million
many different
times.
It's cool to see where all the iconic moments came from. But holy shit, did I not really enjoy myself watching that movie. And it feels like it's going to be fucking torture having to watch part 2 tonight, 3 tomorrow, 4 after that. Like, oh my
part 2 is really good. Part 2 is really fun. And
everyone said part 1's really good too.
Yeah, you know what? I'm going to disagree with you, Ian. I thought part 2 was quite.
You didn't like it.
I enjoyed the darker tone and I enjoyed the darker adventure, but other than that, I did not enjoy. I found it a bit of a chore to watch the second one.
I loved the second one. It had that trope in it where he pulls his hat before the door comes down. That's been copied.
Okay, you're talking about one trope. I'm talking about the whole movie.
Saying, no. I understand.
Therefore, good.
I understand. I mean, the thing, as I said, it is part of my childhood and nostalgia, and that's one of the reasons why I like. But I also think they're very well made, entertaining movies.
It's still entertaining. Yes, I agree with you there. But just definitely a huge step down. But watching number 3, I'm like, oh, this is a great movie. The third one,
it's exhilarating.
From start to finish.
Yeah, I think it's great. The third one, I like the second one. I think I like the second one slightly more because it's very dark. I mean, you got kids being whipped in the second one, man. Kids being whipped.
Fuck yeah. I hate kids. That's perfect.
And you got some evil guy pulling someone's heart out of their chest.
That was
all that
cool,
stuff. Yeah. So. It is quite. It's like
but the woman brought down the entire movie.
Yeah, she did. Yeah, I got me. That's Spielberg's wife.
I would have liked it a bit better if she weren't there.
No,
Marion's not in the second one.
Oh, right, because this is the second one is a prequel, right?
Yeah,
that's what I'm about to get myself into. Okay.
Yeah, but the idea was that it was like James Bond. He has a different woman in every episode, and that's what they did until obviously Crystal Skull. And
I thought it was interesting that. Indy was kind of like a potentially a statutory rapist in the original, and we're supposed to be like, well,
wait, hold on. Can you explain this? Because someone brought this up in the chat yesterday, and
it was me.
Marion's young. Marion's young.
Yeah, because Marion's
How
young, and she's we don't
Younger.
know, because like she's yelling to him when he first sees her in the
okay.
movie, and he's like, she was like, I was a kid, and I'm just like, it's grape, who cares?
Okay,
right?
so when I heard that, I thought it more as like, oh, maybe they had known each other as teenagers, and he was, a little bit older. Like
he is
16
clearly
and 18.
like 25 years older than her.
No, not that much older than her.
Yes.
No.
Hey, it was the 1940s. I mean, come on.
Yeah. I'm very fond of Raiders of the Lost Ark. Raiders of the Lost Ark was it was the only films in those days that had action all the way was James Bond. So it's quite refreshing to see the hero getting shot, beaten to crap and stuff like that, and still coming through. Because James Bond, his hair would never be out of place when he's fighting with someone and stuff like that. So they kind of they went the other way with Indiana Jones. And as I said, it's part of my childhood, and I think all the films are very entertaining personally. So that's why I like it. So.
No,
is he really 28 in that movie?
Oh no, he's older than Doom.
Okay.
Temple of Doom is the one that I don't ever really rewatch, but I will happily watch Raiders and The Last Crusade. I think both of those are very strong films.
The only one I remember is the fourth one.
The what? The Crystal Skull?
Crystal Skull.
There is no
terrible.
I haven't seen that one. I'm gonna watch that later this week.
It's the only one that I remember being like on TV reruns a lot.
Crystal Skull sucks big time.
It does.
Oh, it's an appalling film.
Yeah,
it was really
awful.
Oh, actually, no. So Mega Geek, since you've seen 5, though, is 4 better than 5?
I would say 4 is slightly better than this new one, and that's saying a lot. Look, I'm going to break it down for you, right? The only reason why I don't like this film is because of that Wally Bridge woman. She spoils it.
Wally Bridge.
Totally.
Just say that you hate women and get it.
You hate women.
You hate women.
Sexist.
So the first 20 minutes, is it 20 minutes? Maybe even 15 minutes of the film is kind of like an Indiana Jones movie, and it has lots of CGI. And they try to disguise Indy in the shadows a lot, because then if he's in the shadows, they can't put CGI on the stunt man. So they were kind of trying to, it was obvious they're kind of trying to save money that way. So, but the first 15 minutes of the film is kind of like an Indiana Jones movie. And then when it cuts to him, is it the 60s? No, 70? I can't remember what year it was, 60s. Then it just kind of goes downhill because Indiana Jones is an old man and gets upstaged by women, all the women. Doesn't matter if it's just somebody walking past him, he gets upstaged by, and it's just
very odd given his character in the first 3.
Exactly.
He literally just picks up a woman, tosses her over his shoulder, and carries her through gas water, like swarming with rats. So
toxic man, toxic man. Women from peril.
How dare they?
Well, that was one of the quotes about Phoebe Waller-Bridge from, I don't know if it was one of the writers or the director, who said that he really wanted to capture that essential thing of Indiana Jones, which is that Indiana Jones always has these strong women characters, and they're go-get-'em, and they're vivacious, and they're adventurous, and all the rest of that. And that's what he wanted Phoebe Waller-Bridge to embody. The difference is, of course, that they're also his love interests, and that's a key part of why the characters work and the story works. They give him values. There's good interplay, especially with the jilted lovers. And you can't replicate that if the woman character you're choosing is going to be his goddaughter, as we know from the fact that he shouts in the pub, "She's my goddaughter," just in case you missed that. And that's the perfectly natural thing that you say when you're in a pub with your goddaughter. So it's not, I don't think they understand. That's a good point. He has to keep reminding himself who he's with.
So there's this scene at the ending that if you're a fan of Indiana Jones, you're going to be so angry. I was so angry.
Does she pick up his hat?
No.
Does she bury the hat in the desert and then say, "I am Phoebe Waller, Indiana Jones"?
Something worse than that. She does something to Indy, and you think, "What the?"
She
kills him, doesn't she?
She body transfers into his older, decrepit body.
No, but yeah. So I'm not going to give it away, but yeah.
Okay. Do they explain why they couldn't just say granddaughter, or like why is it goddaughter? Like that's a very specific family member to.
I don't care. I don't care. The film sucked. Seriously.
Okay.
And his son is dead. Am I right about that?
Yeah, in
Of course
Vietnam.
he is. Gotta have a dead son.
Does that impact his character at all, or is that just a
no one cares? It's a
Shia
dead
LaBeouf's
son.
That guy?
Yeah, he's dead.
No,
Wait, Shia LaBeouf was his son?
Shia LaBeouf.
Yeah,
it's his son.
That's the only thing
I haven't
like.
seen it yet, so I don't know.
The fourth one is crazy. All right.
It's a male. It doesn't matter if he's dead because he's dead and he's a male, so it's fine.
Yeah, so
it's so easy because I think we were talking about this on Mr. Brown. It's so easy to see ways to create a good Indiana Jones story, which even includes the fact that Crystal Skull exists, which regrettably it does, but it does. You know, for example, well, The Last Crusade already has the father-son dynamic, and now that Indy is of an age to be his father, essentially, you can actually make a proper dramatic point of having him play the role that his father used to play for the son that is his son. You can keep the Vietnam stuff in there as well. I mean, you know, Indiana Jones comes about at a time when good and evil are pretty morally objective and binary and easily identified. Fighting Nazis is good, being a Nazi is bad. And he's coming up in a generation now where one of the primary war that America is facing is one in which a large part of the population says, nah, either we don't want to be involved or even that the Viet Cong are good guys. And then his son's attitude toward that war, if he wanted to be an objector or wanted to draft dodge or something like that, would create character strife between them because it's duty versus sacrifice versus personal honor. Like, there's so much rich character stuff you can do whilst also creating a proper Indiana Jones film that actually hands over the torch, as the fourth film, I think, attempted and failed to do. But no, they've just written him out now, so he's gone. Phoebe Waller-Bridge is in. Stupidly, Kathleen Kennedy says, yeah, it's not impossible that she can lead an Indiana Jones franchise going forward. It's like, okay, it might not be impossible, but it's very, very fucking improbable.
Yeah.
Question.
Stupid.
Did the fourth one flop in theaters when it came out?
No.
It
It was a huge success.
I thought it earned less than all of the others. I think it's on a steady downward trajectory.
No. Well, I don't know. Look, I think
just not in comparison to the others, just in general by
comparison to the others.
Yeah, it's standard wise.
Yeah, it made a hell of a lot of money, even though the film sucked.
It did 790 million.
There you go. So
That's
it
pretty
did very well.
So then why didn't they continue that? Like, why? Because it's almost 15 years now, right, since we got that last one. But he clearly is not too old because he came back for this one.
Money.
Look, in the 60s, right, when someone reached 80, they were dead. I mean, so why is Indiana Jones still alive?
No. I mean, I'm just like, did it ever come out why we never got another Indiana Jones closer to that time period instead of now?
Work commitments with Harrison Ford and Spielberg and all the rest of them and stuff like that. That's the reason why it's supposed to end at the third one, and then Spielberg only directed the last the one with Shia LaBeouf in it because he made a promise to George Lucas, and by then you can tell Spielberg didn't care. Because when he said, "Oh, I want to make about aliens and interdimensional, creatures," Spielberg went, "Okay," that was it.
Because George Lucas bought his ideas, and Steven Spielberg made them work, and that with George Lucas entails ditching most of the ideas, but keeping the central ones. And that collaboration was incredibly fruitful. And then you can tell, by the time of Crystal Skull, that Spielberg is just there because it's an obligation.
Yeah.
He doesn't really give a shit about the story that George is foolishly trying to tell. And then George Lucas himself is just, well, I really like sci-fi B movies from the 60s, so we're going to do one of those. And you think, well, George, there's a reason those were not successful at the time. They're not going to be any better now. There's a reason they're called B movies, George. This is not what you should be doing. Just because it's a thing that was done before doesn't mean it makes it good if you're honoring that thing. And then, he just bought his crazy ideas. But as far as why, they didn't do a fifth one straight afterwards, I think it's also partly because, this was George Lucas's baby to a degree, and he was only going to do another one if he felt that there was a story to tell. Whether the story was good or not is a separate question. I don't think he necessarily thought there was, and it wasn't well received. For all it made a lot of money, the film was panned critically.
The reason why the three worked was because it was dealing with spirituality. And the relics that was connected to that. And then when you came to the Crystal Skull, it was dealing with interdimensional beings. And you're like, well, that's not Indiana Jones, because the last three we had the Ark, we had the Shankara stones, which is connected to something beyond life, and religious relic, and the last one was the Cup of Christ. So with this one, it's like interdimensional aliens. You're like, well,
that
that's
doesn't make
not
sense
Indiana.
at all.
That makes no sense whatsoever. And this one, don't even talk to me about this one, man. time travel and all
if
that.
they'd have made it about the I don't know, like ancient Sumerian stuff or something, but the Anunnaki or something like that would have made more sense in terms of religion, because that was a Sumerian religion. Fine, but the fact that it just seemed very convoluted just to fit aliens or trans-dimensional beings in there for some reason.
Of course, Probby's on a stream, so we have to mention the trans.
Yeah.
You're right. No, it's a really good. These stories about the quest for religious relics are as old as religion itself. That they are epic stories, and it's a really clever idea to combine that very ancient want to find these significant holy objects with a modern blockbuster Hollywood action type film. It gives the film more of a sense of they are silly films and they're supposed to be silly, and that's part of their charm, but it does give them a bit more weight than just this value-free aliens or time travel or nothing with actually any kind of cultural significance really attached to it. And they've made a mistake by going away from that. I still think that the best Indiana Jones film to have come out in the last 30 years is probably The Mummy with Brendan Fraser.
I like that film.
It's
I love that
basically an
film.
Indiana
Yeah.
Jones
I
film.
love
It's
that movie.
very, very similar to that. In the same way that the best Bond film is Jason Bourne. Many of these great ideas have been taken on and just adapted and put it in new characters and new stories, because the people who created the original ones either have no more ideas, or the studio that owns the property is intent on driving it into the dirt. So the same basic premise works. It's proof you can still create a successful Indiana Jones style film. There must be a reason that they can't do it with Indy himself, and that is probably at KK's door and Disney's door, and to an extent George Lucas's door as well.
Well, the first one was a homage to the 40 serials, right? And I understood that completely. The second one was trying to be further, not to be a copy of Raiders of the Lost Ark. The second one was trying not to be, and it was also focusing on the 40 serials as well. But also it was in a dark tone. It was very dark. It was like Empire Strikes Back, the second one. And the third one, right, had the same idea with the relic, but they put the father and son motif in that one, and that one works much better than the other two, in my opinion. The Last Crusade, because of the father and son dynamic. But the fourth one was just a waste of everyone's time, as far as I was concerned. It really was a waste of my
I guess
time.
then that's another reason why no one's interested in 5, because they saw what happened with 4, and it was it sounds like it was just bait, and now they don't. What's the point? So
Shia LaBeouf, to give him his due, he addressed his character was criticized particularly, and his performance was criticized particularly, and rather than the modern actor's tendency, which is to deflect the blame onto literally everybody else, he said openly, that I was given an incredible responsibility. People love this franchise. It's a really important character, and I wasn't good enough, and I apologize for that. Which I thought, as mad as he is, that's a nice little sentiment. I wish more actors would do it. It's like Tom Holland recently coming out and saying that I know my recent thing is being critically panned, but I'm still here defending it. Because I think it's important. I think actors, even mad ones like Shia LaBeouf, would get a much better rap from critics and fans alike if they actually were just honest and owned up to mistakes, or said, well, you might not like it, but here's why I do, and it stands on its own merits.
Actors with humility. Are you crazy?
I know, mad thought, isn't it? Yeah.
Well, he wasn't the problem. The script was the problem.
Yes. Yeah.
I mean, his performance is good as far as I'm concerned. There was nothing wrong with his performance whatsoever, but it's the things they made him do, like swinging through the trees like Tarzan with the monkeys. That was just ridiculous.
Yeah, no actor could have. You could put Laurence Olivier doing that. He wouldn't have pulled that off. It's just
exactly.
That's a script problem.
I now can't get that out of my head.
And I remember, what is it? They were behind the scenes of the fourth one. They were going, we're going back to real stunts and whatever. And I saw the movie. It's like CGI everywhere. I'm like, they lied to us. You know what I mean?
Real stunts.
Yeah,
they're not even there.
Yeah, exactly. So. But I mean, I did get quite excited when I heard they were making the fourth one, because I do like Indiana Jones. And when I went to see it, I was so disappointed with it. There's some really nice moments in there, like when he's at the back of the car and they throw his hat out, and you see the shadow, and he picks up the hat, and it's Indiana Jones. And it's really nice moments in there, but it wasn't enough to save the movie, because the climax and everything was just absolute nonsense. And you can tell Harrison Ford was old. He couldn't hold himself when he was fighting people and stuff. You can tell. So,
and that was 15 years ago.
Yeah, exactly.
That was a while ago.
Yeah, exactly. So so this one's even worse.
You know what is nice about watching Raiders of the Lost Ark last night, though, was just admiration for when they would actually film on location and had real sets.
Yes.
Oh yeah, remember?
And practical effects.
Yeah, practical effects. It just makes whatever they're doing nowadays in films just glaringly more obviously fake in just CGI and VFX, and it's a travesty. I mean, we need to get back to that.
Well, that does explain. When people talk about superhero fatigue, I don't necessarily believe it's superhero fatigue. I just think it's CGI fatigue.
It gets exhausting. It feels so hollow.
I mean, let's take Raiders of the Lost Ark, right? They had some really wonderful scenes in there without any dialogue, like the bit where he discovers the Well of Souls and he gets that stick. It's all music driven. He's not saying a word in there. He's wiping his brow. He's writing in his little book. He's waiting for the sun to be in the right spot. He puts the stick in. He puts the thing in. The light goes through and the music carries the whole scene. That's filmmaking. Yeah. Even in a big picture like that, that's filmmaking, right? You watch some of the films today, it's just... Ugh.
I plan on watching Sisu. I actually, for whatever reason, when I was trying to purchase the ticket to see it, the app wasn't working, and it was the last showing in Nashville. Like it was not showing. This was weeks ago too, and I can buy it on. You can buy it on streaming, but it's like $30. So I'll just wait until it's like officially released.
Good.
Yeah,
I'm really excited to see it. I tried, but the app kept crashing. It was the last showing. It was like a month ago.
I haven't seen it.
There was no showings near me, so I just couldn't see it, which was sad.
There were, but because hardly anybody was watching it where I am, it had then suddenly it was like one show in a day, and then suddenly it just disappeared. So
yeah, it was only in theaters for like 3 weeks near where I am. So
yeah.
Mr. Brown, if Movie Cynic watched Raiders as a 13-year-old kid in 81, it would have blown his mind. So are you admitting it doesn't actually hold up and it's not good? It's just your feelings that makes it good?
Search your feelings.
It's almost like feelings, Mr. Brown, you know it to be true.
It's almost like when you grow up, you find
as a
flaws.
13-year-old kid in 81, and I still think it holds up.
I do too.
I watched it when I was like 5 or 6, like in '93. So.
But the thing is, though, sometimes I think the film Raiders of the Lost Ark is a beautifully made movie. There's a lot of errors in it because he was shooting it really fast, but such great photography, like when they're digging, and the sun's setting and he puts his hat on and the wind is blowing and stuff. That's all shot on location, and that wonderful scene where he's on the horse and he's running after the truck. How are you gonna get those scenes are heightened, and when that music starts playing, you're like, this is fucking awesome. I don't know, the kind of feeling you got when you were watching the Movie Cynic, I guess, is not the feeling that I got when I watched it.
I still appreciated it from like a perspective of, well, I just appreciate film. I appreciate Spielberg. Like it was clearly a Spielberg movie, and it had a lot of his isms and tropes in it. There were some things that was. It makes sense now that you told me that he shot it really fast, because it felt clunky in a lot of spots.
Yes.
That did not, it's not the time period, because he made Jaws and that's like fucking perfect. And he had made that before Raiders. So I was like, why does this feel so like fucking clunky in so many spots? But what you told me makes it, that answers a lot.
I think his last film before he made Raiders of the Lost Ark didn't do very well, and I can't remember which one it was. So he was desperate to get a movie out that did well. And a lot of people complained he was taking too long when he was directing. So he just kind of shot it really fast, like a TV, because he used to direct Columbo, right? So he directed it as fast as when he was directing Columbo episodes. So, so there's lots of continuity errors in that movie. Did you see the bit where Belloc swallowed the fly?
Oh yeah. Yeah, I thought that was interesting because the fly disappeared, and I was like, "What? Did he just fucking?"
He just swallowed it. Yeah, carried on acting. Swallowed it. Yeah.
No, but there were some moments that were like pure Spielberg, though. Like the car chase, I thought was really good. I was complimentary of that.
He wasn't even there though. He didn't direct that.
Really?
No, he wasn't there. The second unit directed that.
Wow.
So, but he approved the storyboards. He told everybody this is what I want, and he was in England when they were shooting that scene. And in fact, he was the only one that didn't have the runs because he brought his own food in cans. Everybody else ate from. Everybody else had the runs and stuff.
Just walking around shit.
And that scene where he shoots the guy with the swords is because Harrison Ford had the runs and they couldn't carry on. And
Oh yeah. I did read something about that.
Yeah. So
that was funny. I laughed at that.
So the sweat is real in that movie. Then
God,
he's
real. Yeah, definitely.
I suspect, if I had to guess, I'd say you would probably enjoy The Last Crusade more than the other two, I think. Just knowing from your list. If, however, you come out of Last Crusade, Cynic, and you don't like it, then I suspect you're dyeing your hair because you're secretly ginger and have no soul, and that's
well, someone asked me, they were like, on my No Hard Feelings review, someone said, I thought it was great. Are you gay? And I was
did you answer though?
Well, I asked him, I was like, do you want me to be gay?
I remember reading about how they made that guy's face melt, the guy with the glasses and the hat and stuff, and that took freaking ages. Obviously didn't have CGI in those days. That took bloody ages to do. So the artistry in Raiders of the Lost Ark is pretty amazing for the time that it was made. So, and I appreciate that too, only through being, reading stuff up about the film. I appreciate even more the way they made the film. So, but as I said, everyone's different. They look at things differently. I think it's a masterpiece personally, but
some people like Indiana Jones and some people are wrong. So, it's one of the things I am looking forward to. The one good thing that can be said for Indy 5 is that it's given me an opportunity. I will be going this week and watching the other three. I need to clip them all up for clips for the video anyway, but it'll be a good excuse to rewatch them because it's actually been a while since I've seen them.
Yeah,
I will even probably watch Crystal Skull just so I can get back in touch with the lore of Indiana Jones. Not that it will matter.
They had so many studio shots in Crystal Skull. I was like, you can tell that's a studio, and it just took me right out of it.
It looks so shit compared to the other three, and considering how modern it is compared to those, it just looks. It's the problem with a lot of CGI stuff. It's bland and it's soulless. It's so obviously not real. You compare it to when he's, if he's fighting on top of a tank in the original films, he's actually fighting on top of a tank. It adds a little bit of tension because he's really doing it, and he could fall off. It's a dangerous stunt to perform.
Was Crystal Skulls was it filmed on film or digital?
I don't know, but
knowing Spielberg and his time period, it had to have been film, I would think, but I could be wrong. And now I want to look it up.
I don't know. Maybe we can find out via.
I wonder if that would make a difference.
As I said, the last one was disappointing. Harrison Ford did his best. They all did their best, but the problem was the story. It was just rubbish. They should never have made or tackled that story. Should have been something else. But I do like the three. For me, ended at Last Crusade.
Yeah,
that's where it ended for me.
It's where it should have ended as well. I don't think. I think certain film franchises should be left in the 80s.
Yes,
I don't think you should bring these things back. Indiana Jones is a really much beloved, and I would argue it's a very good, concise trilogy. It should be left as it is. It's a timepiece. You're not going to match it. You're not really going to add anything by bringing it back. So just leave it as it is. Not everything has to be remade or added to.
It's the Last Crusade. The last.
Yeah.
I mean, last. I mean, it sounds pretty definitive, to me. I just think it was.
I remember coming out my train when I was going to work in those days and looking up and seeing a big billboard saying "The man with the hat is back, and this time he's bringing his dad." That was the tagline for Last Crusade, and I was like, I've got to see this movie. Those days there was no internet. It was like, I've got to see this movie. I've got to see this movie. Every time I saw a movie poster, it's like, I've got to see this movie.
It's a good relationship as well. They really, Sean Connery does really well in that role, but they play off each other really well. They've got great chemistry, and the characters are really well written. And I like the way that they start off as they are at odds at the beginning. And as the film goes on, you start to see more of the similarities, like when they're both tied to the back of the chair.
Yeah,
it's revealed that both of them have this crush on the same Nazi woman. And it's like you're basically the same person, and you like all of this difference between you is kind of unraveling here, which is the point of it, I think, which is quite nice.
I think a lot of people miss things, and because I'm in love with cinema so much, a lot of people. I mean, Movie Cynic. When you see Last Crusade, make note of the transitions in the movie, because there are some fantastic transitions in the movie. I don't know if you remember the bit where the guy puts the hat on young Indy and he says, "You lost today, kid, but you don't have to like it." And he puts the hat, and then when he raises his head, it's Harrison Ford. Fantastic transition. Absolutely fantastic.
That entire intro is beautiful.
Yeah, it's so good. It's so bloody fucking good, man.
Didn't that spawn? There was a TV series, wasn't there? Like the Young Indiana Jones.
Yeah,
I think I might have seen
there was.
I think it was spawned from that scene.
Yeah, it's Last Crusade is what as I still think Temple of Doom was better than Last Crusade slightly, but I guess people don't like Temple of Doom, but I liked it. I love Temple of Doom personally. I like the minecart chase. Do you not like the minecart chase, Vex?
No, it had fun moments. I'm just saying, like overall as a movie, it felt more like a chore to watch than enjoyable. That's all. It had good parts.
The silliest of them as well. I still watch it, but it's my least favorite of the three because it's a bit too cartoonishly silly, I guess. Whereas the other two they're silly in their own ways, but they're not quite as extraordinarily silly as that.
Yeah, yeah. Again, the relationship between Harrison Ford and Sean Connery, and the reason why they call Sean Connery, obviously, because Indiana Jones was made because of James Bond, and they wanted James Bond to be his dad, because, and so Sean Connery's in it. But Sean Connery was pretty good in that film. He was quite funny as well, I found. So I recommend those three. Just stop at the third one. That's it. But it'd be interesting to see what Movie Cynic thinks of that, because you've only seen the first one, right?
I mean, I might as well have. I saw them all when I was real young and just never revisited them for what's becoming obvious reasons to me. But I will let you know, because I'm watching the second one tonight, third one tomorrow, and the fourth one Wednesday before I see the fifth one in theaters on Thursday. So.
I saw Temple of Doom 20 times, because in those days it was 50 pence to get into the cinema. So and in those days you could stay in the cinema and the film would play, and then you'd watch the adverts and the film would play again. So you can stay as long as you want until the third screening. Obviously, they kick you out after the third screening. So Saturdays I would go in there in the morning and stay in the cinema and just watch it over and over again. So good old days, the good old days. Yeah.
I guess, unless anyone has anything else to say on the subject of Indy 5, we can move on to the third item in the docket, which is Marvel and secret.
I always dread talking about Marvel at this point.
It's Secret Invasion.
I haven't seen it. Is it good?
Has anyone seen it?
No.
I've
seen it.
Wait, you have?
Secret Invasion?
Yeah.
It invaded my fucking senses. It was horrible.
I hated it. The ending was so annoying.
Is this one episode, right?
Yeah, just one episode out so far.
Right. Wow. I haven't seen it.
This feels like it could be a really cool idea if it took place during a time where there were characters that existed that I actually cared about.
Well, because Secret Invasion was a really cool comic book series, because it was about characters like Cap and Iron Man and Spider-Man and all the characters that you really enjoy. So
what if this took place between Infinity War and Endgame? You could do something.
I remember someone predicting that was gonna.
I wish that happened, but it's just it's just a bunch of characters that you don't really care about anymore. Like Nick Fury is they're just kind of oh, you got old, and he's just he's like, yeah, I got old, and then they kill Maria Hill. Thanks, his wingman since the first Avengers, they just kill off. Thanks for that.
It's flight attendants.
Really randomly too. Really randomly. It's just an insult to the character. How they killed her.
She gets killed by a Skrull pretending to be Nick, and I get what they're going for, but it's just so annoying. And you can pull that off, but
so I haven't watched it yet. I thought in the in Captain Marvel, the Skrulls were good. I thought that was the angle they were going for. Because I mean,
there's good and evil ones now.
Yeah,
and
the
apparently
premise is that there is an organization, kind of a semi-terrorist / People's Liberation Front for the Skrulls, who are very frustrated that the promise of a new homeland has not been fulfilled. And there are still good Skrulls. So you've got Ben Mendelsohn's character is back and he's still on side, but then you also have the
only good one.
I'm sensing allegories here.
Yeah. I feel that was the thing, because when it was first announced and everyone thought, oh god, and then I read the premise, I thought, I can see so many ways this could be really interesting. There were parallels with history, obviously. This is a group of people who've been exiled and they've been promised a new homeland, and they're being frustrated in their bid to get it, and so some of them are turning to more violent and extremist acts, and that's a fairly legitimate read into the plight of the Jews in 1948 moving over to Israel. But that's not really what they've done, because they have no cultural awareness or knowledge of history, any at all. What they think, they seem to have in mind that, well, John le Carré, he was fun, spy stuff, that's good. So we'll do that, and we'll call MI5 the circus, for example. And Nick Fury is in hiding. Nick Fury, noted black person, decides that the best place to go undercover is Russia or Eastern Europe generally, not notable for its diverse
and they
population.
make a note of that. A tall old black man in Russia.
You want to go for a walk in Moscow at night?
Yeah, they make it a point, and it's like, guys, you're not helping yourselves. Stop acknowledging it.
The Secret Invasion, it has some of those elements that made Winter Soldier really great. Like, it had that nice thriller-esque like tinge to it. But the problem here is instead of trying to intrigue an audience, which is what a thriller should be doing, they just kind of throw everything in your face because the writers are too stupid and too lazy to actually try and be clever with whatever plot they're working with. So you get a lot of instances where it's just like, oh, I want to include this information. So instead of maybe doing a flashback or maybe having like an interesting exchange between two characters, I'm just going to flat out put it there so that I don't have to go through the work of revisiting it later.
Damn.
It's extremely lazy, and it actually felt like I was watching this for 2 hours, not 52 minutes, because it was just such a
Wait, the
chore
first
to get
episode's
through.
52 minutes?
52 minutes, yeah.
Dude, I remember saying to you guys, like, I will only review episode 1 if it's like She-Hulk level terrible is what I'm hearing. Otherwise, I'm going to give it some time, but it sounds like I should have reviewed the goddamn show.
I don't know. It's just like nobody's talking about it. Like, nobody...
Just do
everyone
mid-season.
Forgot
there
this existed.
Does Samuel L. Jackson does he get told off by loads of women?
Yes.
Not yet.
Oh no, well, what's the name does quite prominently. Hill, is it Hill?
Maria Hill.
Yeah, that's the one. Yeah, she tells him that he's off his game and he's not ready and needs to pick his ideas up because otherwise he's gonna be shit. And so he's told off a couple of times.
So okay, maybe I missed this or maybe I just didn't view it, but how did he end up on the Saber space station? Was that something they did in Captain Marvel?
That was a scene in Far From Home where it was the post-credit scene where it was revealed that it wasn't Nick Fury in that movie. Don't even get me started on No Way Home. Or not No Way Home, Far From Home.
I say, so chill out there, buddy.
Nick Fury wasn't actually Nick Fury, and he was a Skrull, and Nick Fury was actually on a spaceship.
Yep.
How did he get on the spaceship, though, is what I'm wondering.
Shh.
Is that ever explained? Because he was
consume
part of
product.
It might be explained in the Marvels, but oh boy, it won't.
It's just lazy. That's all this is. It's really lazy. The way it's been filmed too is extremely sloppy. Again, it's a very poor imitation of a Jason Bourne movie is how they film this, essentially. The action sequences are very sloppily cut, so you can tell they just didn't bother wanting to try to choreograph a full fight. They just thought, oh, we'll just do half the motion and the audience will get that, and then we'll just cut to the other dude falling down. There's an instance.
Samuel L. Jackson is also too old and notably too fat to actually move.
It's not even just him, though. With all the fight sequences, they do that. No matter who it is what is the painful part. The sets are also a little bit interesting because you can tell where it's been. They just didn't care when they were editing it. So there's one scene where he gets in a fight with a Skrull and he gets tossed. One of them gets tossed through like a concrete pillar, and you see the pillar bounce afterwards. Shot. Like,
it has a high budget.
Well, I'm just sorry. I like the idea. Where in England can we go that looks the most like Chernobyl? Oh, I know. It's Leeds. We're going to go film in Leeds.
And I also heard that they used AI to make the opening credits.
And you can tell.
Was this almost like antagonistic to writers and artists? Because of the strike?
So
that's so wild.
They wanted to like give it the feeling of uncanny and unsettling, like, ooh, look, like AI being an allegory for the Skrulls.
Yeah, AI is so in vogue, man. Everyone's doing it.
Yeah,
so
man.
trendy.
Just like NFTs were.
Yeah, right.
Yeah. But yeah, they could have just done that with real artists.
Yeah.
Yeah, but they have to pay them.
True.
Exactly.
They barely pay their current artists, so what difference?
Listen, AI doesn't complain. It just does. All right.
It does.
It just does.
I'll check out the second episode, but just the first episode, like I can tell already that they're going to try to squeeze in way too much into this, and they're not going to flesh it out adequately.
Yeah,
so
they're
it's
also probably going to bring back Maria Hill.
Yeah, oh, definitely, 100% they will.
Which I don't like. It's like kill her or keep her alive. Make up your mind.
No one's ever truly gone.
Yeah, they killed her.
Okay.
Sounds
shot
like
her in the
Stephen
stomach.
Moffat wrote it.
Shot her in the stomach.
Yep.
Yeah. Oh dear.
I think the abiding thing though is that why should I care about any of this?
Yeah.
I barely remember the scrolls from Captain Marvel because Captain Marvel was garbage and it's not a film I rewatch for fun. I didn't really care about it at the time. I don't really care about it now. You could potentially do interesting things with the premise, but you're still relying on people really giving a shit in order to get invested in a show like this. And I know the common response when people say it's superhero fatigue is it's not. It's bad writing fatigue. I don't think it is just that, because again, you can go back to phases 2 and 3 and you'll find some duds, but people are prepared to overlook the duds because they're still excited for the overall journey. Superhero fatigue is when you lose that excitement and the investment in where the thing is going as a whole. And you don't then forgive bad things that you might have forgiven back when you were invested. I don't really see any reason to invest in this one because I do not give a shit where they're going. I don't know where they're going.
You don't know where you're going. That's the biggest thing, right? They keep putting out all of these phases, and it's just like, what is the end game?
And
like,
they say it's a multiversal saga, even though like only 5 of the projects have actually dealt with the multiverse.
That's 5 too many.
And I would also argue that people are sick and tired of multiverse shit. It's fucking exhausting.
Multiverse fatigue is real.
I saw that Invincible season 2 is going to have multiverse, and I am very sad.
Jeez.
I was like, you had a really good show. Please do not destroy the world building.
There was something else that was announced yesterday or the day before, quite recently anyway, where I can't remember what it was there, but again, the announcement was, and this particular thing is going to deal with the multiverse, guys. So why are you even bothering to make that as an announcement? We just assume now that superhero-related things are going to be doing multiverses. Everyone wants a multiverse. It's a lazy, cheap trick for bad writers to get out of writing convincing stories. I really hate this trend. I don't know where it's come from.
Well,
the argument,
Deadpool is. That's what I've heard.
Oh yeah, the argument is like, oh, Invincible did it in the comics, so it's fine, and it's like, no, stop. I don't care if it did it in the comics. Like. Do something new. There's a lot of comics for Invincible. Just adapt something else. Because
I think Across the Spider-Verse is an exception because it's a sequel to a multiverse film that came out 5 years ago that was really well received, and it's not a bad movie. Like Across the Spider-Verse is really fucking good. So there are going to be exceptions. Like I think there's obvious. I don't think it matters if it's superhero fatigue or bad writing fatigue at this point, because you just associate bad writing with superhero movies now. Fatigue, so it's whatever. It's just like you are fatigued of superhero films because they're bad and written poorly. But I also don't think people are ever going to stop going to see Batman movies, and he is a comic book hero. So there are always exceptions. I think Across the Spider-Verse is one of those.
I didn't like the first one.
Into the Spider-Verse?
Yeah, it was all right. I don't know. And I know
I adore that movie.
I had a chance to go and see the second one, but I just didn't. I thought the first one was okay, and I don't know. I can't understand why a lot of people like the first one. Because a lot of people are going, oh, the script is genius and it's really good. Yeah, it was okay. It wasn't that great.
I
but
think
it's
it
there
benefits
to tell us trans lives
comparison.
matter.
I think it benefits by comparison. It's not as shit as everything else superhero related. And as a result, lots of people are saying it's the best thing ever. I'm with you, Maggie. I think it was okay. The first one, that is. I think it did some things quite well. I think the art style is very distinctive and that's well done. And as far as you can make a multiverse make any kind of sense, by not explaining it yet. That's what that film did quite well. I don't think that held up particularly well in the second one, but I mean, actually, Andrew's going to go all toxic Spider-Verse fan right now, so I'm right prepared for the hate.
I'm an elitist Spider-Verse fan. I think you don't understand.
Like, visually, obviously, Across the Spider-Verse is really beautiful. I actually do criticize it in my upcoming review. That bag face is editing. Get back to editing. I see you in the chat.
Get back in the bunker, all right?
But Disney.
Get in the bin.
I do say about the visuals though, like it is beautiful, but it really feels like it's a fucking 2.5 hour TikTok video at some points. Because like if you ever open that app, like there's the main thing that of a person talking, and then like 5 different things happening at once because everyone has fucking ADHD. And like it can't pay attention to something for more than 2 seconds, and so it's like visually exhausting to watch. So I almost wish the movie was like a half hour shorter. But I think what it does well is like it actually made me give a shit about about Gwen Stacy and Miles Morales, and I think that's where No Way Home succeeds too. Like I think that's where like the heart and soul of a movie needs to be is actually making me care about your characters, and I'm much more forgiving in a lot of other ways. And like plot holes and that type of shit, like I'll obviously admit when they objectively exist, but if you're taking care of your characters, like that means way more to me than
But Peter Parker's not special anymore because there's thousands and thousands of Spider-Men now. So it's like it's just. I
mean, there's always been thousands and thousands. There's always been a bunch of.
No, there hasn't.
Yes, there has.
It's always been Peter Parker as Spider-Man.
No, I agree with you.
There's always been Spider-Punk. There's always been Spider-Gwen. There's always
Spider-Man 2099.
There's a lot of Spider-Man.
Not the 60s.
To the fucking 70s, dude. Like there have always been multiple Spider-Men.
Well, for you it has, but when I was growing up, it was just Peter Parker and his plight and stuff like that. And I mean, I did stop reading it. I think once it hit the late 70s and beginning 80s, I did stop reading Spider-Man. But the stuff that I read was all about Peter Parker.
And I like Peter Parker is Spider-Man to me. I would never argue that point.
Yeah,
I actually like again another criticism I have of Across the Spider-Verse too is like. You need to separate Miles Morales from Spider-Man and stop trying to pretend like he is Spider-Man, please.
Yeah.
And you are never going to convince me that he is Spider-Man when you're using fucking Peter Parker's Rogues Gallery. Like you are he's inexorably connected to Peter Parker. So either accept that and move on or give him his own story, like really his own story and move on. But they just have no interest in doing that, and that is a criticism I have. I'm just like, stop trying to shove fucking Miles Morales down everyone's throat as like the Spider-Man. Peter Parker's fucking Spider-Man. That's why everyone calls him Miles Morales. No one says, "Hey, Spidey."
Yeah. Well, as I said, the first one was just okay, and I hadn't known to see the second one, even though a lot of people say it's really good. But I'll catch it on streaming or something.
I liked it a lot.
All right. Catch it on streaming. I don't know. I'm very different. I mean, because I'm a lot older, you know, I like Linda Carter more so than Gal Gadot, you know, and you people can't understand that, but that's just me, right? I like Peter Parker more than Miles Morales, you know. I'm
but don't you feel represented as a black man, Mega?
True.
That you finally have a black Spider-Man?
No. I don't know. I don't know. I just think Miles Morales is there because of a current year. That's what I reckon. But it's kind of spoiling it, really. If all his crap wasn't happening, I would have accepted him right away. But it just feels forced. All this stuff now. I don't know about what you guys. Well, Vex is a woman of color, so I don't know how you feel about all this.
Don't ever call me an of color ever again. Just a woman.
She's brown,
a woman of
woman.
Brown.
You know what? I felt represented in Indiana Jones 2 because it was filmed in Sri Lanka. So
okay.
I don't give a shit about this color swapping. Again, I've always stood by the fact that we fell in love with Disney movies in the first place as kids. It wasn't because of how they looked. It was because they all taught us a lesson and they all gave us someone to aspire to be like, right? So now that you're just telling me that all I have to aspire to is someone because I have the same skin color as them, it's fucking retarded.
Yes. You're just a white supremacist, Vex.
I am secretly. I am a brown white supremacist.
You are the epitome of that Dave Chappelle skit. Clayton Bixby. Tyler Root, I appreciate the Borat connection here. Thank you.
Tyler Root. Again,
if you know, you know.
Old school. I'm old school. What can I say?
Vintage.
Yeah,
you're vintage.
Fine wine.
Yeah, drop the school. Just the old. Yeah.
What do people say? Because I know the Secret Invasion is so interesting. We're now talking about Spider-Verse, but lots of people.
That's how uninteresting.
There was the story about like how hard they were working the animators, and they were working really long days, and it was mean to make them do that. And they shouldn't have to do that again. It's inhumane. And my sort of instinctive response to that is, no, shut up. You have an incredibly privileged job.
Yeah.
If you don't want to do the job, you can work anywhere else. You're working for a prestigious company already. You can get a different, easier job if you want to, but it sort of comes with the territory. You're creating a big blockbuster animation epic. You're going to expect to work hard because that's kind of what got you there to begin with. I don't know what other people's takes are. Like, should we, I mean, well, Cynic, I know what your take is because you've already slaved Bagface to the kitchen table, but like, I think you should be able to crack the whip with animators. I think they deserve it.
Wow, harsh.
Well, it
Bagface is black too, dude.
You're right to a point, but these companies are really taking advantage of the visual effects people and they really are. They should be paying them more. They should.
It's not just the studios either. It's the companies that are bidding for these jobs. They're accepting jobs and putting this workload onto their staff, knowing that they're going to put all this extra hard work on the staff that's beyond their ability, to be able to do in a reasonable whatever time frame it is. And then don't forget the studios are also doing rewrites and wanting reshoots and re-renders, so it's constantly changing. And it just makes them look bad when in fact it's the studios and actually the owners of these animation studios who are taking on the jobs that they can't really do.
I think the distinction would be, though, it depends on, I would say it just depends on the result. So obviously something like The Flash, for example, is obviously rushed, and Marvel Studios CGI department is famously worked to the bone. And you can tell because it looks like garbage. So evidently something is not going very well there. Certain video game companies do the same thing when they cram for production, and it tends to lead to lots of mistakes and then botched launches in the end. Hello, is it CG Product Red did that? So that's not a good idea. But with Spider-Verse, that's different because these are people who clearly are very, very talented. They're very good at their job, and their talent is all evident on the screen. So whatever is going on behind the scenes has worked as far as an aesthetic proposition. I guess my curmudgeonly Scrooge side is simply saying, look, you are privileged to have that particular job. It's not damaging your art. If anything, it's improving it. So stop complaining. And if you don't like it, work somewhere else and have that ability.
And there was this thing where it was like, 100 of the artists left because of the working conditions. And it's like, okay.
Not a sweatshop in China, really, is it? Let's be honest.
Find another job if you don't.
I think
like
this speaks more to just the standard for modern workers in general. Because even if you just look on a economic spectrum outside of this, it's nobody wants to fucking work because they're too lazy to. They've all been spoon fed their entire lives, and now they have zero work ethic. It's something I have to struggle with day in and day out when I try to hire people. So
you hire people?
Yeah, I run a
she
business
basically.
She only hires white people because she's a white supremacist.
Actually,
with the like people coming out and saying it was bad, you have the complete polar opposite. And there's like hundreds of tweets from artists who worked on the film saying, "Hey, I did this. I worked hard on this. I'm very proud of what we as a team made." So it's like people are like, we should be ashamed for working so long. And it's like, no, you guys made a brilliantly looking film.
I don't think they are complaining about that. Basically, what they're complaining about is the wrong. They get the wrong information. Special effects people, because I know a lot of visual effects people, and so what happens was they give them. They write the script, they give them the script, and they say they have to do this effect. And then halfway through the film, they're saying they don't want that anymore. So they've literally spent all that time creating that bit, and they say they don't want that anymore. We want this. And then have to start from scratch again.
And the deadline's coming. So
exactly.
This is different because this is an animated movie. So the entire crew is animation artists. So it is different. And they're not hiring a CGI company to make it. They have the CGI company that's making the movie, and that's just the animation team.
The comment disappeared. I was going to.
I started for you.
during the creation of an animated movie, it's way more streamlined between the director and the artist. So you don't have those confusions because you have the storyboarding already. And storyboarding goes in. There's a lot that goes into storyboarding when in terms of animated films. So
well, sometimes the truth is suppressed by these companies and stuff like that. Did you know that the guy that actually did create the CGI for the dinosaurs in Jurassic Park was never really credited?
No.
So basically, the story is that they were going to do stop motion animation for Jurassic Park. Everyone was on board. They hired everything. They hired everybody to make the models and stuff like that. And there was one guy, and he looks like a biker. And he said, "I bet you I can make a dinosaur on this computer." And the people in charge said, "Don't do it. We've already hired Phil Tippett to do it, whatever." And he went out of his way, went behind the backs to create this thing, this skeleton that walks on its own. And he sneaked in when Spielberg turned up, he sneaked it into the screening and they showed it. And then that's when everything turned around. But he's never credited for that. So the point I'm trying to make is that companies can suppress, when people complain, they can suppress the truth, so.
Well, Phil Tippett was right out of a fucking career after that.
His career was done when they saw that footage.
It was done. Right after that.
It was dead. Yeah,
I know. I remember seeing that as a kid on the the DVD, the making of the featurettes when they were discussing that. Yeah.
But a million stop motion animators cried out in fear and were suddenly silenced.
Mm-hmm. But there's a thing on Netflix called The Films That Made Us, and there's one in Jurassic Park. And if you see the guy, he looks like a biker. He was the one. He's never credited. He's credited in that, obviously, because the truth has come out. But beforehand, it was all about ILM. ILM was responsible for those effects, but it was that one guy that broke all the rules. That's why you got CGI today, because of that biker dude.
Rule breakers.
So if you ever get a chance to watch it,
always the ones who make things happen.
Yeah. So,
yeah, I mean, but that's what it takes. I mean, you see the same dynamic that plays out at Twitter. When Elon Musk takes over Twitter and finds that 75% of the company doesn't really do anything, and the people who are let go, or the people who take voluntary redundancy and then go and tweet meanly about him afterwards, or go over to Mastodon because they're pathetic, are the people who they're entitled. There was the famous one, some woman who worked, I think, at Google, who was just documenting her work day. It's like 8 a.m., get up, have coffee, blah, blah, blah. Do 1 hour's work, go to lunch, have a really long lunch, go to yoga, go to this, come back, 1 hour work. Like all of these people have incredibly cushy lives and they achieve nothing. And then Elon Musk comes in and decides, well, actually, you can pretty much run Twitter with 25% of the workforce. And the people who are left are the people who are prepared to say, because they want to do it, that they will work incredibly long hours. They'll sleep at the office. These are people who are very passionate and committed to what they're doing. And I kind of prefer that. People are absolutely at liberty to leave jobs if they don't like the terms of that job. Yeah. What I don't like is when the instinctive response is, oh, but we're all being too mean to them. No, like you're in an incredibly privileged position. Like I'm very lucky to be able to do YouTube as a full-time job. I work harder at this than I did at my old full-time job. Like my old full-time job, I would not have been up till midday working on a video to try and get it out that same day. That wouldn't have happened, but I work hard because I'm quite passionate about it and I like doing it.
But don't you miss the old job though? You come in at home and you have your port in your hand and you're watching TV, feet up.
Now I can just stay at home all day with the port in my hand and my feet.
Oh dear. No, yeah, well, no, I get you. I mean, YouTube's a full-time thing, isn't it? You have to work to make the money, right?
Dude, I work more now than I ever have. I just happen to fucking love it. So it's like not work. I'm working all day, every day on something YouTube related, and it's the shit. Like I have so much fun. So it's like not work, I get to talk shit about movies all day. So it's just a passion thing.
Yeah. That's cool. I guess. I don't know, but like if everyone was doing what they were passionate about, though, like isn't YouTube one of the most desired jobs on the planet?
Yeah.
So if like 40% of the fucking world were YouTubers, like how are we gonna have anything else? So
I did not know that.
There was one of the old stats that was often brought about by like doomers is that if you poll American teenagers and what they want to do. They want to be social media stars, TikTok influencers, and all the rest. And you poll the Chinese equivalent, they want to be astronauts, mechanics, and engineers. And I can see the doomer side of that. I think that probably is kind of depressing, but you know, I work here now, so I have to not pay attention to that.
So you guys work 24/7 then on your videos? Like, don't you have a break or anything like that? Do you work straight through the weekend and stuff like that, or
pretty much?
How does it work? Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Like for me, I'm never not thinking about YouTube. Like it's always like when I wake up.
You might have a problem. Like,
I mean, I probably have some autism in me. I get like absolutely fucking addicted and obsessed. But it's also why I don't know. It's why the channel took off so fast, because I just get obsessed with it.
You have to be obsessed, I guess, to make a success out of it.
Yeah. And it's funny, like the Judas stuff alongside as well. So whenever it's not YouTube, I have to then catch up on the stuff I'm doing for games. But you see the same like dynamic at play. And if you talk to Ken Levine, for example, he works all the time. He's never not thinking about the game that he's making. That he will send messages to people at weird times of the night because he's always thinking about it. He's always working on it because it's his passion project. And so it's kind of the same thing, I think. So it's people who are genuinely passionate about something I don't think tend to worry too much about working long hours because it doesn't really feel so much like work. And if you are in a position as an animator for Spider-Verse, for example, and you do feel like the work is too long and too hard, then fine, okay. And that's absolutely understandable because it is time consuming, but that probably suggests that maybe your heart isn't in it to the same extent as other people's, and you can find something else. And by all means, good luck to you if you want to leave that job, because I'm sure it is difficult. But
so what about holidays, guys? What about, do you go on holiday?
I took like I missed reviewing Across the Spider. I saw Across the Spider-Verse, but then I had to go on a trip for 4 days, across the country, so I didn't get a chance to review it. So that's what Bagface is actually editing right now. I just wrote my Across the Spider-Verse review. Like I released 4 videos in the past like 10 days.
Right.
And it's I could have taken any time off that I wanted, but I want to do all this stuff.
But when you took time off, did you go crazy missing it, or?
Oh yeah, like I'm even when I'm at the fucking gym, like I'm listening to something about YouTube or just learning about you. It's not just about movies and what I'm talking about. It's actually like I consider YouTube a full-time everything about YouTube. You're talking to like from like the analytics, the titles, thumbnails, like all that shit I am obsessed with. So I'll listen to things about how to get better at YouTube because it is my full-time job. So I have to like now that I'm working for myself, I totally understand that someone is going to outwork you. So you need to outwork them. But it is what it is. So like, and there's always going to be people way better than you too. So to even keep up, like you have to know your strengths and weaknesses and just fucking run with it. So
sounds very stressful to me.
I love it, dude. Like I absolutely love it.
I'm getting heart palpitations thinking about it.
But I'd like to ask you guys a question. You're in Little Platoon a question, right? So you put out, just by curiosity, of course, you put out this video, say this video is out live, and then after we finish doing this, it'll be out. Then you guys take it down and you put it back up again. What's the deal with that then?
That has to do with algorithm and keeping in channel health.
Right.
People are so like it's why him and I both run. He's muted, so I'll speak for him. No,
I'm
oh no!
muted.
Oh, I thought you were away. But no, that's why we both have 2 channels, and it's for channel health. You got to keep the main channel, the algorithm happy with the main channel, because if you put out too many videos that don't perform well, the algorithm will be less likely to recommend your videos in the future. So that's why I put out like primary videos on the main channel and re-upload things that are less likely to be watched on the second channel.
Have you considered maybe down the road, maybe like if this doesn't last forever kind of thing, that you could set up like some sort of educational thing, a YouTube training school where you can Why not? I mean, you could get people to do an online course with you in how to.
I like that. If you fail at YouTube, you can teach other people how to do YouTube.
I mean, obviously you're not fail. Well, I mean, those who can't teach, right? But I mean, if you did make a success out of it, then a lot of people can sort of retire on that, and then introduce other people and make money that way as well. I don't know.
If Movie Cynic fails at what he's doing right, I'll be in Starbucks and he'll be saying to me, "So, what kind of coffee do you want?"
That will be his Kathleen Kennedy moment. There you go. That's the next step.
Absolutely.
I've thought about helping
you guys because you guys are working 24/7.
I think you'd be good at that. Yeah. That's why I said it.
Yeah, I've thought about helping people. Like I'll get DMs and I'll sit with someone on StreamYard for like 2-3 hours and go over stuff.
But you could be charging them money for that. I mean, my inner Jew is coming up.
maybe in the future.
You're missing an opportunity there.
Yeah. So I don't understand. So you take the live one off, and then you put the version, a recorded version, on the same channel or on another channel?
No, it's separate channels. So basically, because when they're live streams go out obviously live by definition, but then YouTube will process them and then re-upload them itself automatically anyway. They're classed as normal videos, but because streams are A, long, and B, not produced, they don't get anywhere near the same amount of views as a normal video does. But because they're counted as normal videos, YouTube thinks, oh shit, all of the stuff you're doing is getting very few views compared to the older stuff, so we're going to stop recommending it. We did this because I only cottoned onto this after we've been doing it for about a month, so you can see the effects. If you go back through my channel history, and there'll be like a video with like 500,000 views, 600,000 views, 4 live streams. Then the Super Mario movie film comes out, that's got 80,000 views. Took the streams down, next video flies off again. But that was because I'd had 4 videos as far as YouTube was concerned in a row, which just weren't doing anything, so it didn't recommend the next one. So yeah, re-uploading is what like Mauler does it with EFAP and Drinker does it with Open Bar as well for the same reason. It's just that it will kill your channel if you keep them on the same place.
Oh, okay. All right. I think I understand that. But yeah, just wondering why you did.
Your general audience isn't going to watch a 3-hour stream, or like most people won't watch a 3-hour stream. So whether like the general audience is going to watch like a 20-minute video, or in Platoon's case, a 7-hour video of whatever talking trash about it that is still produced.
This is an interesting comment. Fritz said, I feel like, is this your Fritz? Or is this a different Fritz?
I don't think it's my Fritz.
Oh, okay. I feel like teaching how to YouTube is like teaching trading. If someone offers a class of all their secrets, then it isn't worth it because it's no longer a secret and probably wasn't good anyway.
Yeah.
In this, like, I see what you're saying. In this case, I actually disagree. What I've actually found is most people are just so goddamn stubborn, they won't even take your advice and try and apply it.
That's true.
They'd rather sit there and piss and moan about why they're failing and blame it on someone else. And literally, YouTube is the most fair platform that's ever existed for success, in my opinion, ever. If you just make something people want to watch and can get them to click on it, which means making a good title and thumbnail, so it'll succeed. It just will. Like eventually, if you have 0, I went from 0 to subscribers to where we're doing now, and I'm full time. And it happened because I'd never uploaded a single video, but I practiced for like 4 or 5 months before I even released my first one. And I still learned along the way, like click-through rate. This is a YouTube lesson, so sorry guys if this is boring. But
start paying up, chat.
Yeah, like
you're on the clock.
All this shit, like all the things. Like it was keeping people's attention that clicked on it, but it wasn't getting people to click on it. So you just like go down rabbit holes of just like, you have to balance and juggle a bunch of things. But if you care enough and figure them all out, like it'll work. So like if I give someone advice, it's typically not of like, hey, here's how you make a good video. I'm not going to be able to make you a good fucking video. That's all on you. But if it's the little things, then yeah, I can give you advice and probably help you. Because normally if you already have good content, but people aren't clicking on it, it's because of simple things that you're not considering, like
it could
titles,
be personality, or the way you speak, or a number of things. So it could be any of those things that you can teach them the mechanisms. You can teach them all the right things and all the algorithm and all these things and thumbnails. But ultimately, if they don't have the personality to draw people in, they're not going to succeed anyway.
Right, like it's I think I related it before.
That's why I don't have a YouTube channel.
We were chatting about it in private, and it's like a piano teacher that will take someone who already has like raw talent, and if they don't, then they won't try and take them on as a student. And it's kind of true like that. Like it's a lot of work to try and help someone create great content, but if you already have that, I can help you from there. Yeah. But that was a good comment. I understood what you're saying, Fritz.
It's a vocation, I assume, really. I think those who make a success out of it are doing so because they have a vocation. It's a calling almost.
Yeah.
I'm basically
semi-religious.
This is my mission. It's I'm an evangelist for good writing movies.
High Priest Platoon.
Yes.
I actually remember when Platoon was just a journalist and we were talking. And he's like, "Oh, I might have to go 100% on this," he used to say. And now you are, I guess. So
YouTube is fair.
Yeah.
I don't know what else to tell you.
YouTube's fair, and that it does not care about you.
No, it doesn't care about you. It does not care about you. You have to make it care about you. Like that's how it really is.
But do you think
until it gets to the copyright stuff when, for example, someone from Amazon goes manually combing through your videos to exploit the bullshit copyright system this platform has?
Fair,
I mean, that's
YouTube itself.
Absolute garbage. The algorithm stuff is fairly fair, but there's a lot of other stuff about it which is
oh yeah, we want to get into the weeds there for sure.
And you get struck down for saying cunt, and you get struck down for getting
come on.
No, as far as like fairness goes with the algorithm, it will, like, if you had 0 subscribers and uploaded a banger fucking video and have good metadata, which is just like in the details, help the algorithm identify what your video is so it knows who to show it to, eventually it will give that video a chance. So when it does, now it's up to you for everything else. Like if someone's going to click on it, that's going to be up to you with the title and thumbnail. Did you make a good enough one that people want to actually click on it? Then from there, it's up to you. Did you make good enough video for people to want to fucking stick around and watch the video? And if the answer is yes to all that shit, the algorithm will go, oh, well, let's keep showing this to people until that stops.
Well, what about when you have a small channel and you have a video? You might even have one video that does really well, but that's it. And you get adverts and you're not monetized. That's not fair, I don't think. I think if you're
but you can get monetized really fast, Vex.
Yeah, but I think it should be monetized, even if it's micro. Monetized.
No, I agree. It's not fair in that sense. Like you should be getting, money up front. Like the partner program is silly, but yeah, I'm not disagreeing with you on that. But I mean, Vex, you got monetized like that, didn't you? How long did it take your channel to get
28 days.
28 days.
28 days later.
Even when you were swearing and saying all those bad words. That
second channel took 28 days to monetize. I haven't gotten my first channel monetized yet.
Ah, okay. Ooh. Okay.
Yeah, she scotched the first one.
She did, yeah. She cussed too much.
I made a lot of autism jokes in the last video, so I'm surprised that got past monetization.
They can't be later with that one. It'll be like 6 months later and you'll get a notification saying ads have been restricted on your video.
Yeah, I know. I've been restricted like 8 and 9 months later.
Every time I get this, I think, what did I say in that one? Is that where I said that this person was? And I'm going to have to do the button again.
Yes.
Hey, but YouTube's fair. YouTube's fair because it's 50-50. Right across the board, 50% of the population can go fuck itself, and the other 50% gets a thumbs up. It's not bad.
Uninspired says getting subs is the hardest when you're small. Yeah, there is some truth to that for sure, because people, if you have no videos or anything, or if you have 0 subscribers, that does deter people. You're going to have to make a really, really, really good video to get people to want to give you a chance. That's 100%. That's totally true. Yes.
You could replace the word subs with sex there and it would still make sense as a sentence.
Yeah.
Need more sex. That's what it is. Yeah.
Yeah, somehow we got onto all of this from.
I have no idea how we got.
I asked the question. Sorry,
Secret Invasion is so goddamn boring.
We're talking about Secret Invasion, and then we're talking about people working too hard for some reason.
This was more interesting, to be honest, than Secret Invasion. So
yes, that's true.
And they still keeping that stupid idea they got scratched by a cat, and that's why he's blind.
That's still a thing.
That wasn't in the comics, was it?
I mean,
wasn't
it's
in the comics.
stupid whether or not it's in the comics.
It's absolute rubbish.
Cat's so God, that entire
wasn't even a cat, was it? It was some alien,
stupid.
whatever.
It was an alien cat named Flumding or something.
Tentacle pussy. That's what I called it.
Okay.
Here we go. Another soap for Vex, please. Oh God. What else are we going to talk about then?
Those were the 3 topics I had in the title.
We included a few, don't we? We've included
we did get off topic a little bit.
Yeah,
so
yeah, we did. We did. We did indeed.
I don't know. Does anyone else have anything? I think I told all of you. I'm like, we have these 3 topics, and then bring up whatever the fuck you want. Okay.
All I know is that Platoon and Movie Cynic need to watch Arcane.
I know.
Yes.
Yep.
100%.
Well, if Bagface sends me back this video and it's really well done, I'll hire him to do the video editing for the next 2, and I'll take the time that I would be spending editing and watch Arcane.
It sounds so rude.
Bagface, don't disappoint. You gotta pull through, brother.
Work, bitch. Work.
You really hired a black man to do that job?
Exactly.
He's getting fucking paid, bro.
By the hour, right?
It's
You're the
hired
man.
For editing.
You're the man.
That is a lot.
Baby, it's so smooth. Come on, you see my shit.
Bagface, make it go fast. Come on.
I have, which would be why I hired you, bro.
I turned Mr. Brown into my slave for the Flash video. He helped with the audio for that one. So yeah.
Good man, Mr. Brown.
He is.
Mr. Brown is a good guy.
Yeah.
Well,
if I knew Bagface was going to be in the chat, I would have just invited you on. I didn't.
No, don't invite him on. That he can't.
Well, it's too late now. It's 3 hours.
I need him to edit. Okay, stop. Listen, Bagface, you have to understand. If you get this through, then he watches Arcane, and then I finally have someone to talk about it with.
Talk to me about it. I've watched it. I loved it.
Oh, I loved it too. Let's talk about Arcane now. This is Arcane podcast now.
I haven't watched it yet, so.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, no, not finished
Platoon,
it.
how far are you? How far are you in it, Platoon?
I actually don't remember how many episodes I got in. Even
you said 3, didn't you?
I think 3. That sounds about right.
Oh man, the first 3 episodes are my favorite.
Yeah, they were really good, but there's loads left. So yeah, I will. I will
You
be
wearing
watching
a
that at some
jumper,
point.
Andrew?
Huh?
Are you wearing a
romper?
It's a
What's he wearing?
It's this? What do you mean?
I thought. Oh, okay, cool. No, I was just wondering what was on the actual shirt itself. So, yeah. Sorry,
my arcade carpet
that
I wear.
Okay.
We need more Invader Zim. That's what we want. Remember that?
I loved Invader Zim.
I love that show. I love the Florpus. Is it the film that was on Netflix? And it didn't go anywhere. I was like, oh no.
I forget who created Invader Zim, but he did a comic book series called Johnny the Homicidal Maniac.
Yeah, I love that book. And
yeah,
Squee.
that was pretty wild. Yeah,
Squee as well.
Yeah. That's good shit.
I miss that stuff. Anyway, there we go.
Okay, well, in the absence of any further topics, we have some super chatty, star chatty things we can get through before we roll off and I get some long overdue sleep.
Poor thing.
Let's do it.
Righty-o. Top of the list from Thule for $20. Funny guy. Where's the Rings of Power video? Where's the Rings of Power video? Oh, I like seagulls. Just like that's what I hear at night when I go to bed. Just loads of thousands of people saying, "Where's the Rings of Power video?"
Where is
it? It'll be out before. But the timeline I set myself is that it will be out before Mauler finishes Game of Thrones. So I've got until the end of time to do that.
Yeah.
And so I'm gonna try and do it before season 2 comes out. So that's basically I'm giving some point within 6 months. I will hopefully have time to do it. I haven't decided yet whether to do it like episode by episode or just one huge video for all of the remaining episodes because that would be long though.
20 hours long.
I feel like copyright is going to hit you if you do all 3.
It's going to take a while.
Whatever you have left.
I think I don't even remember how many episodes I've done 2 or 3. I can't remember, but both of those videos are about 2.5 hours long. So that's what, 6 episodes left. And if it's continuing at that pace, that's a long video. Maybe I will break it up. I don't know yet, but at some point something will happen. Is the answer to that question.
Someone just said Rings of Power is actually pretty good. Bro, you do not know where you just stepped into. Bro, leave now.
Woo!
Leave
Get
the
in the
chat
bin.
now.
Hot take. God damn.
Get in the bin.
I didn't
We
even
have a
finish
cave
it.
troll.
I think I got like 3 episodes in, and I'm like, yeah.
For, oh God, can I pronounce this? Veskichetti? We'll go with that. For $2 Australian says Sisu.
Sisu. That's that movie that I haven't seen yet.
Yes,
it's good.
Haven't
Definitely
seen
on
it
my
either
list.
yet.
Good fun. Great ending.
Heard it's John
Actually,
Wick kills
Andrew.
Nazis.
Pretty much.
Hell
Actually,
yeah.
Andrew, would you like to take this one for us?
Sure. The chat too deep. You're supposed to say funny thing. Me laugh. Why does that sound like something I'd say?
Oh, chat too deep.
I think this is when we got into talking about directors, and the chat got very deep between all of us. Yes.
Yeah, well.
Speaking of directors, Mega Geek, would you like to take this one?
What's this? Is that no? It doesn't say Bumtown, does it? Where's
It
my
does.
It sure does.
Yep, that does
Where's
say
my glasses?
Bumtown.
Oh,
You
does
are
it?
correct.
Oh shit! As far as far as up and coming filmmakers, was it the Daniels? What's that? What does that mean?
Oh,
What's going on?
Daniel.
What does that mean?
I'm guessing there are
searched it
2
for y'all.
filmmakers called the Daniels, but I don't know which
Don't know what
ones.
that means. Sorry,
Paul
Bumtown.
Daniels? I don't know.
For $1.99. Yeah. Well.
Apparently the
Robbie.
people...
Oh.
Give me a second. I'm looking.
Fiona.
I'm
Love
on
Fiona.
Wikipedia.
Fiona's awesome.
Yeah, we like Fiona.
Short films,
Yeah.
television.
$2 though. Come on, Fiona. Come on, Fiona.
Flash the cash.
Yeah,
Well,
exactly.
while Andrew's doing his on-the-spot Google search, probably would you like to take this one for us?
Oh, okay. Female Bond, vinegar and water, shaken not stirred.
Oh god. Oh no, why? Why?
God. Vinegar and piss, more like.
Vex, it's your turn.
All right. Filmmaking, while an art form, is also a craft, and it seems that many of the up and coming are skipping the apprenticeship portion of their education. Example: Roger Corman teaching so many now A-listers how to work cheaply and efficiently.
Yes.
Thank you, the Country Scholar, for $49.99.
40. Did you hear that, Fiona? 49.99. Come on.
Well done.
But Maggie, I mean, just as our resident director, and obviously you're working on a budget, aren't you? So how do you make sure that you keep those costs under control? I mean, how does it work when you're doing the kind of filmmaking that you're doing?
Well, the thing is, I'm doing it all wrong. I'm an expert at making low budget stuff. I've proven it time and time again. But this time round, because I'm so bored, I want to learn. So basically, I've decided to do something that I cannot afford. So I'm spending the whole year, right, working around actors because they're doing it for nothing. So I might set up something and they're not available, and that whole day's ruined. But that's the risk I'm taking. I'm so fed up. I just want to. I'm taking a huge risk with this. So whatever money I have, I shoot a portion. When the money runs out, I wait till I get more money, then I shoot a portion. That's how I'm doing it, and it's the wrong way to do it. But I just want to learn. I like creating whatever. So that's how I'm shooting my latest epic. That's how I'm shooting it. Look, nobody's sponsoring me. Nobody's giving me money to make this. So I'm just gonna have to make it in bits. Yeah. Anyway,
Take my hat off to you.
That's how most people do it from the school I came from. They work on it until they run out of money, and then they work more to get more money, and then they use up all the money again.
Yeah, but this way around, nobody's under contract. So I've said to the actors, I said to them, look, I'm going to have a faith in humanity, and I'm going to hope that you guys will, take this journey with me and finish it. You're not signing the only contract they've signed is I can use their likeness in the film, but they can stop at any time. They can go, fuck you, Ian. I'm not going to make this anymore. And then I'll be in trouble. Or one of them could have a haircut and then, and then I'm screwed or so, you know what I mean? So it's a huge risk that I'm taking, bigger than anything I've done before. But, you don't get anything unless you take risks. That's the way I see it. And quite frankly, I don't care if I fail. I'm old enough to fail, and I don't give a shit. I'm just enjoying the journey. So there you go.
I like the attitude.
Yeah.
Well said, sir.
Oh,
Good
cheers.
attitude. Cynic, it is your turn.
Nebraska because for $5. Did you hear that New York City got pissed because the Indy 5 adverts were screwing up the subway information for passengers getting their train times? I had not heard that.
Does New York subway have audio adverts? Is that?
I don't know. I do know that.
Maybe it's a screen thing, you know, when
Oh.
they're trying to watch where their trains are arriving, and then you get like a advert instead. Maybe, I don't know.
Big
More
Waller
details.
Bridge face all over the screen.
That made me want to throw myself in front of
on the lines. Yeah. Gosh, she is not good looking. I don't care what anyone says. I don't care.
Like, her nose is lethally
I
sharp.
know,
Like, she
I
had
know.
Lethally sharp.
straight through.
She's got a bony face, generally.
Seriously.
Does anyone actually unironically find her attractive? I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that they find her attractive.
Isn't she the one with the mole?
I don't know.
She uses her hair to hide.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Oh, it's not. Is
No.
it a mole?
No, it's
Or is it a
Birthmark, I assume.
Birthmark.
Oh, I have no.
What's
idea.
her name?
Wally
Indy-
Bridge.
Yeah,
That's her
I'm
name.
just searching Indy 5 cast. That's easier.
I mean, if she wasn't a terrible person and a terrible writer, but I don't think we'd be quite so cruel.
It's okay to be mean if the people are shit. That's the rule.
It's the standard. It's a given.
Jonathan Frost for $5. I, for one, welcome our new non-male overlords. welcome to the matriarchy. Or the them triarchy.
Them triarchy.
You cuck.
Cocks.
You gimp. Love you, really.
Vex, I believe this one is directed at you.
Oh, Vex Electronica is a great name for a shop that sells new and retro electronics and also has a cafe on the second floor. Thank you, Nikki, for 5 British pounds.
That's weirdly specific, but maybe it's good business advice. You should take him up on that.
I mean, I like both of those things, so I should probably just combine them at one point.
Coffee and retro games.
Yeah.
You can go and buy someone can get insulted at the same time.
You go to the Starbucks and they say, "What's your name?" And did you give the name? And just Vex just writes "cunt" on the cup. Cynic, I guess you've seen this film.
I have Mo Sislak for $5. Fuck J-Law. Does Matthew Broderick go full frontal?
No, he doesn't.
Yes, he does. He's got a big bush.
He's putting a crap load of weight, isn't he?
He looks like shit.
He does, doesn't he? He does. He looks awful.
Looks pretty rough.
Yeah.
Nikki Relihan for
Again?
£5. They need a shot where Thanos uses the Infinity Gauntlet and wipes out the MCU. Yes.
That would be
If
good.
Phase 4 has shown us anything, it's that Thanos was right and his death is to be regretted. Actually, Andrew, for you, as our resident Spooderman.
Stan the Milkman for Amazon $2.
Is that Amazon?
Amazon,
Sure.
yes, it's Amazon. The Japanese got Spider-Man right.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely.
Okay.
Have you seen the Japanese Spider-Man?
It's not as good as Turkish Superman.
It's so cool.
Turkish Superman rules.
It is unique, to say the least.
He has a car and he has a robot. That changes.
Well, doesn't it, like, isn't his origins completely different? Like, he comes from like a old samurai that's stuck in a hole, and then the samurai's like, you have spider powers, and then he comes out with like this watch.
Yes.
Awesome. I hope he's in the next Spider-Verse movie.
I hope so too. I really do.
I'm gonna have to pronounce this again.
Squishity, I think she.
Squishity. Oh, okay. Thank you. For $10 Australian dollars. I did a degree in animation, and working hard is fine, but there are these animation sweatshops / dungeons where they don't get enough money or time, and the product is awful, and it all sucks. We really should have Backface on this stream just to get his insider's take.
He's in a sweatshop right now.
Yeah, I was
Where he'll
slaving
stay.
away, or so I thought.
What's the punishment if he just spends all of his time in our live chat rather than doing work?
Slashing wages. I don't know. I hope he's pissing in cups at least.
Is he working in his kitchen?
Maybe.
Last time he was there, he was working in his kitchen. But you can always go to Fiverr if you want animation, I guess. Get someone that's really crap and pay them money.
Yeah, I guess someone who's really terrible at it.
Yeah.
I did my personal trainer offer because he trains someone who has a son who's studying like video editing stuff, and said, like, if you want a hand editing, I can get this guy in touch with you. And I said, well, yeah, I don't want to spend too much money. He says, no, he's a student. He won't cost anything. So I was like, yeah,
don't worry, it's slave labor, Platoon. Listen, it's fine.
It's not slave labor. He's a student athlete. Right. This one would be. It's an internship. Yeah, definitely. Yes, unpaid.
The little plantation, more accurately.
I could be really mean and just palm this one off to somebody else, but I won't. From Cody Kulan. Can I get a shout out from Little Platoon? I'm a big fan. It's my first live stream. Well, I know you sent this a while ago, so apologies if you've already gone. Mind you, if you have, then that won't be any good to you. But hello. Welcome.
Yo.
Join more often. We're always happy to have you.
We're always here.
Do you know Comic Cons are having special sections for YouTubers? Because the last Comic-Con
they've been doing that for a while.
Yeah, so hopefully if I go to Comic-Con in America, you guys will have a table, right? No, it'll just be a cartoon and you. That's what
Can there just be a cardboard cutout of Platoon?
Yeah, exactly.
Like an iPhone. There's like an iPhone on the top, and that's like him in a Discord call.
Doobie-doo and Little Platoon.
That's right.
I have to try, if I ever do end up at one of those, I'm going to try and figure out how that would work. I think it might have to be a cardboard cutout or like a box on my head.
Just like multiple cardboard mask.
Of my face.
There'll be a monitor with you in it, and then you're still in England and he's in America, and you'll be just talking from there.
It's like a robot. And
we had a lot of people on the Brown channel yesterday complaining that there was no Platoon face reveal. So just
it'll be a long old wait.
So easy.
Robbie, would you like to take this one?
Russman, $20. I am an I can't roll my ass. I am an unrepresented person on YouTube. Boomers, assemble!
What year do you have to be born to be a boomer?
Old.
I think like 50s or 60s.
I think it's like
50s.
I'm a boomer then, I guess.
My dad's a boomer. He was in 58, I think, 50 something.
65 me, so yeah, I'm a boomer, I guess.
Apparently it goes from 1946 to 1964.
Oh, so I'm not a boomer then?
Yeah,
Gen X.
No, you're still
I'm Gen X?
Mm-hmm.
God, that sounds cool, doesn't it? Gen X.
Yeah, you're beginning of Gen X. I'm at the end of Gen X.
All right, okay.
Gen X sounds cool. Like the premise for a superhero thing is the thing that gives people their powers.
Gen X.
Injected Gen X into your veins.
Actually, I think that's
I think there is a comic called Gen
there is a it's a The Boys
X.
spinoff. It's called Gen V, I think. I think they're making a show about that. It's a spinoff from The Boys.
Youth in Asia for $5.
Beautiful username.
It's great.
I love that icon too. I can't even read it. What does it say? I can just read Splash.
Is that Little Platoon? I've heard.
Little Platoon. I've heard you talk a bit about Gundam. I was wondering which series you've seen. Universal Century Timeline is the only Gundam. You are incorrect, sir. Though it's the best
drama,
probably. But there's others. There's others beyond Universal Century. The Cosmic Era is incredibly cringe, but I love it for that reason. I've seen loads of them. The only ones I tend to avoid are the ones that cross over into sort of martial arts stuff and the Gun Plus stuff where they're all like miniaturized, because that just seems entirely pointless. Why would I want to miniaturize a giant robot? But I think I've seen most of the Universal Century and all the Cosmic Era and what's the alternate timeline with Wing in it? Can't remember that as well. I've seen a lot of Gundam. I will lecture at Gundam at length, but not tonight because I need to go to bed at some point.
You've been told. Emotional damage.
Cynic, would you like this one? As our resident analytics expert.
Oh, sure. Pooty Evans for $9.99. The meta is always changing. You have to evolve with it. If the meta leans fully into shorts and you're not doing them, you would become irrelevant very quickly. That is not true.
Yeah, shorts are cancer. Avoid them.
Yeah, at least regarding shorts. Shorts are shorts. At least right now, YouTube does not. They want you to watch shorts, but they're never going to fucking convince anyone to really lean into it because it doesn't pay anything. It pays nothing.
It also doesn't pay YouTube anything.
Yeah, and
it barely doesn't make.
Yeah, that's across the board. Like YouTube makes no money off it. The content creators make no money off it. They're trying to entice content creators to do it because they want to get it going, but it's just not going to happen. There's a reason why like TikTok and YouTube are meeting in the middle in the next couple of years, because TikTok is allowing longer videos because Gen Z wants to be TikTok stars, and guess what? You're not making any fucking money on TikTok. Yeah. Period. You're just not.
So how long does the video have to be then?
It depends. You have to find your sweet spot. So like if you get a video that's 8 minutes long and it, you know, and the algorithm catches it and you made a good video, so it really takes off.
I don't like the format.
Yeah, it's then like you're expected to stay in that vicinity because that's what the algorithm's going to expect from you, or make longer. So like a perfect example was my Jennifer Lawrence video. Again, I know this is analytics, so I'm sorry if I'm boring anybody, but like my Jennifer Lawrence video on No Hard Feelings I just released, and it's only 8 minutes long, and my average duration is around 15 minutes. So even though the click-through rate was like fucking crazy high, if I had made a 15-minute video, that would have gotten like hundreds of thousands of views. But the algorithm is stupid in this way, where it's like, oh, people are watching this video less, so it must not be as good. It doesn't consider like actual percentage of video watched. It considers just how many actual total minutes they watched. So like if someone watches an average of 12 minutes of one of my videos, and that's like my channel average, I will not fucking reach that if I make an 8-minute video, no matter what I do. Unless unless like every person who watches the video watches it once all the way through and then halfway again. You know what I mean? So it's stupid in that capacity. But anyway, let's get off on another YouTube tangent. Sorry.
That's all right.
I consider any video under an hour long to be a short.
Right. Yeah.
It is worthless.
Still, it's now officially canonized that Cynic can last for 15 minutes. So we've learned something today.
Hey, that's good enough.
Let's go.
15 minutes.
Who hasn't done one of these recently? Vex, would you like this one?
Sure. Johan Gumbelpotty of Ulm for this is a Polish Zolty 50. Small one for today. Finally read the plot holes. A lovely comic about a band of wackos jumping between books to solve, well, the plot holes. Darn, we could use them to help the modern screenwriters.
Sounds great.
I like that. I have to check that out. Aurora Uplinks for $5. What if you guys did a fake stop motion movie using modern 3D effects, but designed to mimic stop motion style? That could be a fun project to share.
They've done that on the Corridor Crew, I think.
Yeah,
I think they've done that. They did. They did an anime one as well, which was quite good, using obviously real people. So it was quite good. So
it's not dissimilar to what South Park does. I mean, the first South Park was literally just construction paper filmed in the manner of stop motion. And they've animated the entire process, so it's much quicker now, but it is still designed to mimic the old construction paper / stop motion style. That's what I like, that deliberate cheapness. It adds a lot of character to it. But as for what if we did it, I don't have the talent to do that kind of thing, so it's beyond my remit. But anyone else here fancies taking them up on that?
Well, all you need to do is do 3D animation and then just chop certain number of frames out per however many.
I'd like all you need to do is 3D animation. So that's
all you gotta do is learn this program. And
I learned it in lockdown, so I mean, if I can do it, you can do it.
Yeah, Lee's the expert on this. So yeah.
Actually, Andrew, would you like this one?
Nikki Relichem hen for 2. I don't know what that is.
Pounds, young man, pounds.
I just
British
go
money,
by the
sir.
USD, not this
Original
fake
money.
British crap. My final super chat. Buy a potato heart. All right, I'll do that.
Is that a heart?
Yeah.
Oh, it is a heart. 3. Oh, God. I'm just gonna show how old I am. Fucking hell. Yeah, gonna show how old I am.
No, it's a view from
old.
above of someone's arse and an erection.
Does
in
look
their
like it,
underpants.
doesn't it?
Yeah.
It does. It does.
Pi 3766 for £5, fully expecting Platoon does a face reveal to go to a con and it turns into a Squidward, oh no he's not type deal, like Soviet Womble. There's a load of references in that I don't quite understand, but I guess I'm sure it could.
Soviet Womble.
What is the Soviet Womble?
I don't know. I guess it's like a commie thing that lives on Wimbledon Common. I don't know. A Wimbledon commie.
Soviet people rumbling about, but with an accent, it comes out that's womble instead of rumble.
Womble.
Womble.
Or Womble.
The Wombles. No, I can't even do an accent.
Yeah.
Yeah, they were basically communists, weren't they? The Wombles, or were they communitarian? I can't remember.
They cleaned up Wimbledon Common. I mean,
yeah,
what more do you
as a workers' collective,
yes,
they should be creating a business out of that kind of thing and employing people. Think of all the work they've literally made cleaners unemployed. They are communists. And Cynic, would you like to round us off?
Sure. Julio Rangel for $5 real bucks. Thanks to you all for making Mondays bearable. Do any of you think Batman death metal would work as a film universe or TV show? Funny things, I haven't read that, even though it's drawn by my favorite artist. Greg Capullo is my favorite. I just haven't gotten around to it, so I can't answer that because I'm not sure.
I made a new genre of music. I fused death metal with really camp disco hits, and I call it Death Camp.
In the bin, mate. In the bin.
I'll see myself.
No, that gets him out of the bin forever.
Oh dear.
Is
that the last? Is that the last super chat?
That is the last one, I believe.
Wait.
I think so.
I think there's going to be one more.
What, if we wait here long enough.
Yeah, we would just sit here forever, and then eventually one will come in.
I'll do one. Hold on.
You're going to send a super chat?
Yeah. Here we go.
Okay. You can just ask a question. We'll answer it.
Yeah, we're right here. You don't have to pay.
It's not a lot. But... it's still spinning around. It's not even going.
Fiona M just came in with 10. Fuck Ian. This comes out of my
man. You know I love you, Fiona. Come on. I'm even worse than you. I gave
Inspired, Ian.
Geek, do you want to read the final super chat?
Yeah, go on, dude. Hi. From Rebecca Gold, £2.
All right.
Real money.
And you could have said loads of things for that. You could
I was going to say something.
Come on, Ian, you cheap bitch.
Right, you call out Fiona, but you give £2.
Hypocrite. Wow.
Oh dear. It wasn't me. It was Rebecca. It's not me.
On that note, I think that does bring us to the plug your channel section of the live stream, and we will go clockwise. So actually, Andrew, first off with you, where can we find you? What are you working on?
My channel is actually Andrew. I'll have an Indy 5 video coming out. Other than that, I finally got a Netflix subscription, so I'm going through that and just watching everything. So far, I've watched the 2 Extractions, and I'm on my second watch through of Arcane. Good show. And then I'll go on to watch like Stranger Things and like Wednesday and find a bunch of other stuff. Things? No, I haven't seen Stranger Things. So
First
I'll be doing that.
Really good one.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what I've heard.
Season 2. Season 2 I liked. Season 3 is dog shit. And season 4 is an improvement on dog shit.
So I might do an end of the year video where I just talk about things that I wasn't able to talk about in videos and just sporadically talk about those things. that I liked. But other than that, I will talk about bad or good movies coming out.
You're basically going back through a decade's worth of cultural memories. We're going to get tweets from you saying, "Oh my god, this show called Breaking Bad's really."
I have been watching Breaking Bad. I'm on season 3. I've been going to my friend's house to watch that.
Great.
We got an amazing super chat there.
Holy shit, we have.
Holy fuck, we got 2.
Oh, there we go.
I'll pull up the first one. Aurora uplinks for $5. I want a Star Wars movie. Han Solo actually leading a clever infiltration of an Imperial world and simultaneously setting up a space invasion above.
Ooh.
Didn't
Well, we're
that
not going to
happen-
get that, are we?
Wait, didn't that happen in Return of the Jedi?
Yeah, I think it kind of did. But also, I swear there's one of the old expanded universe books where he has to. They're trying to free the Wookiees. I think it is from Imperial control, and then so they have to go down. It's on Kashyyyk, and then they also go up to the space station. And I think Chewie dies.
What?
So I might be wrong about
already
that.
a bad extended universe.
That sounds so 2023.
No, it's but we're
How
talking like
dare they.
1980s. I think.
I know, but it
as
just
opposed
sounds so 2023.
Oh yeah,
Chewie is
that's
not
true.
allowed to die. He is the marketable product.
He is.
Yeah.
I just love the way that the end of that entire sequel trilogy, everyone he knows and loves is dead, and they give him a medal, and he just stands there looking empty and forlorn, and no one hugs him, and he's just alone in the universe.
Give him a medal. Here you go, buddy. He's just
The one you didn't get in A New Hope. That makes up for the fact that Han Solo's dead and Leia's dead. And
100 quid. This guy's giving you 100
rich
quid.
man.
God damn.
Damn it.
Don't worry, because Fiona M's come to lower the bar again.
It's come to balance things out.
From Nikki Redham for a very generous £100. Fine, I'll set the bar. Thank you very
God
much.
damn.
That's very generous of you.
Yep,
You'd be surrogate father of the channel. But I think
You
the
are a
rule is
producer.
like, if you spend more money, you are more right than somebody else. So really, you missed the
That's
opportunity to say anything you wanted, and we'd have to agree because you've paid.
You can
Um,
buy more port or something like that with that
We
money.
really are never going to get out of it. Fiona for $2. Holy shit, Nikki, that is 5 boxes of 9mm.
Pew pew.
My language.
I like that unit of comparison moving forward.
The most American comparison. I bought 5 boxes.
Amen, brother.
That motherfucker.
So we have no frame of reference over here because we're not allowed guns, which is
right.
No,
Second
you
time
keep
feels
stabbing
like,
people.
Yeah,
we should have a long newspaper tradition of comparing. Size tends to be measured in either football pitches or whales.
That's right.
So
Or London buses.
Yeah.
sometimes buses. Although sometimes some bored person at the Mail a while ago got evidently very bored with these measurements and compared the size of an asteroid to I think 13 giraffes.
I saw that.
Yeah.
There was another super chat too by Aurora Uplinks for $2. The sequels are a horror trilogy in that sense.
They are, and Palpatine wins at the end.
He
He
does.
does.
He does.
His
Plot
genius
twist.
plan, it works. He's the last one alive.
I guess we can pick up with the plugs now. So Mega Geek, it's your turn.
Oh, okay. And so I have a channel called the Rebecca Girl channel, and he was very generous. He gave you £2, so there you go. And it's got my web series on there called Rebecca Gold. Funnily enough, making season 2 at the moment. I've got movies on there. I'm on Twitter. I'm on Instagram. So there you go. I'm not very good at plugging though, but yeah, people know where to find me. I am the Mega Geek, of course. So
You always are the least enthusiastic plugger.
Well,
I say,
you
plug the
do.
channel, and you
You
say,
really do.
oh,
the thing is though,
okay.
everyone on this platform, you guys are constantly putting videos out, but I haven't put something out since the prologue thing. So, and that's what, beginning of this year. So I feel a bit out of place. I think me and Lee feels out of place because Lee doesn't do it either. So yeah,
I'm
but you
always
guys
out
are
of place.
constantly doing it. So yeah, you're always out of place, mate. but yeah.
It's fine. This is the
That's it.
channel for people who don't fit in everywhere else in normal social circles. So we're all social misfits here. It's fun.
That
Yeah.
is true.
Well, yeah,
That is
check out Rebecca Gold. All of these things will be in the description. They'll be in there now, and they'll also be in the description of the re-upload, which I think is on my second channel this week. So
Yeah, and
LostChord if you're
I'll,
not already subscribed.
I'll upload episode 11 also. I just fell behind. My bad. I saw some people asking where it was too. So it'll be in both of our playlists very soon, and it'll be on episode 11 will be on my second channel.
Ooh. I do have a movie on Netflix though called Bad Day, so if people want to watch that,
well, actually, Andrew's currently binging Netflix, so add it to the list.
I can go watch it. I'll add it to the list.
He can't watch it because he's in the States, right?
VPN.
Oh,
VPN.
Okay. It's in the UK. So thing is, and we were talking about cop tropes a couple of episodes ago, weren't we? Bad Day is full of cop tropes. So if you want to watch that, so even back projection shots when they're in the car. So there you go. So yeah, Bad Day, watch it. It's on Netflix. That's my last saying on that. So there you go.
Hello, Probby, over to you. What are you doing with your life?
Nothing. Yeah. Moving on.
Yeah.
Well, on Fridays I do a spot on the TARDIS Zone channel.
Hasn't he changed the title of that?
Not yet.
Oh, okay.
Maybe he has. I don't know. I'm not the boss of him. He does a Friday night show called Contact. I'm on there with him, Noel, and Bowles Trek. People might know Bowles Trek from his Doctor Who stuff. On Sundays, I'm here occasionally. Brown's channel. And you can follow me on Twitter, where I'm raiding against the gender woo most of the time, so it's quite boring. And other than that, I have a channel where I post my VFX stuff on there. I do commissions for people's channel titles if they want title sequence or something like that. I can do that, and that's at Audred, AUDRED. That's it, really.
That's a bit simple. We do actually need an intro of sorts for this stream.
Yeah, we do.
Ding ling 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 ling. I'll take that £100 and we'll put that as an investment.
We will be in touch. And Vex, last but not least.
Well, I will be on a stream right after this, over on Cannoli Sasquatch, where we are going to be reviewing Indiana Jones and the Last Crusade with Uninspired Reviewer. He'll be there as well.
Ooh.
Other than that, my next video will drop precisely on July 2nd at 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time, and that will be my review of Indiana Jones 5.
And the Dial of Silliness, yes.
The Diaphragm of Destiny.
Campbell Peterson in the chat says his super chats aren't working. So I don't know if you want to just ask what your super chat was. And
yeah, just ping us the question before we sign off. Yeah, I know sometimes on your phone it doesn't work. Mine don't work on my phone.
It happens.
Weirdly enough, it takes the money, but it doesn't actually give it to anyone.
Yeah.
So there's a couple of £100 that's sort of drifting around, destined for EFAB, that never made it there, and I don't know where it is, and I kind of want it back, but yeah.
Don't worry, YouTube has it.
Yeah, YouTube probably got their cut for sure.
Oh yeah,
where they are on
good hands. Don't worry.
15.
Cynic, what are you up to?
Whenever Bagface gets back to work and doesn't need a fucking video edit, I'll be releasing Across the Spider-Verse review. And then Indiana Jones 5 review following that. So probably before BSUP next week. And then I have a huge, well-researched, and I don't know if it's really well-researched, very opinionated video essay coming out following Indy 5 regarding the company known as Disney. And I expect that to be a big time video. Putting a lot of work into that.
5 hours long.
No. Not like, yeah, it's going to be like a 30-minute video, but putting a lot of effort into this one. So,
I think if the introduction to my Flash video is longer than 30 minutes, I think.
Yeah, Jesus. Platoon, what are you up to?
Oh yeah, the Flash. Actually, I'm going to bed. That's my next most immediate thing to be doing. But yeah, the Flash video, assuming it gets past copyright, and so far so good, will be out. I think tomorrow. I'll stick it out. So that will probably be, I guess, 8 p.m. real time. So that's 7, 6, 5, 4, 3 p.m. Eastern fake time. Or 2 p.m.
Oh, no. I'm Central. I keep forgetting I'm not Eastern. So yeah, 3 p.m. Eastern time. My bad.
I don't understand anything after Eastern. It's just, it exists as myth to me. But yeah, so that hopefully will be tomorrow. I've never released a Tuesday video before, so we'll see how that does. And then after that, it will be Indy 5, which, depending on how bad the film is, will either be next Monday before BSUP, or if it's a terrible film, which I gather it is, the Monday after that. Yeah,
it's an hour long.
Could well be, actually. Who knows? Who knows? I've got a lot of fun with this one. But yeah, that's it from me, and I think that also means it's it from us. So yeah, thank you to our wonderful panel for wonderfully paneling with us, and thank you to the chat for being brilliant and generous and lovely and informative. So yeah, we'll be back same time next week on Cynic's channel, and we will see you then.
Bye.
Bye-bye.
Bye.
Bye.
Can you get